Hear ye, hear ye! Welcome, lords and ladies, to day one of the Knights of the Fixed Ops Roundtable event.
And here to lead our way into the Fixed Ops Renaissance is the fairest of all maidens, Katrina Ness.
Good morning, I'm Katrina Ness from Northwood University. Are you ready to make history? It is time to reunite the Knights of the Fixed Ops Roundtable for the first day of our fantastic 4-day event. So grab your suit of armor, shine your crowns, and take a seat with the fairest and the finest in Fixed Ops. Will you join us on our adventure? Let's turn back time and start the show. Join the discussion at the roundtable by using the chat feature on the right side of your screen. Just be sure to select everyone and not just hosts and panelists. Become a true believer of the hours. Who better to lead the way than our first speaker of the day, the wise King Tully.
Good morning and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, the 23rd edition. No better person to start it with than the anchor of the roundtable himself, the king of the roundtable, Tully Williams from the Niello company out in Sacramento. Tully, welcome back to the event.
Well, thank you so much, Ted. It's an honor. It's an honor for me to be here in the beginning of this great show. You know, Ted, wow, 5 years, isn't it? 5 years of learning that you've done for all of us and bringing Fixed Ops to the limelight. I cannot wait. This will probably be our best one ever, the Knights of the Roundtable. What a great theme. What a great theme.
You have some great things coming up over today and the next 4 days altogether that we have for the event. I know there's a segment coming up with you and Skylard from Cox Automotive with a new Cox Automotive service study. I'm very interested in what you and he have to say. You are on a panel also today with Joe Lockard and your peers, the Automax Tech Avengers panel. I understand that may be the best one yet coming out. There's an aftermarket panel, Tully, first time we've done that. There's a Fixed Ops magazine panel. So much on the show that you are involved with, and I want to thank you for all your amazing help, not only for this event, but the past 5 years as well.
Well, no, thank you, Ted, for the opportunity. And I'm actually excited. The Tyler with X Time and Cox. That study was really interesting. And I think all of our service managers and parts managers and dealers really need to take a look at that and find out what people are thinking. Cox spends a lot of money on those, and they're really great information. We usually pool for sales side, but not for the service side, where are we being too aggressive? Are we just trying to buy their car and not be in that repeat and referral business? And I think that's what I even got more out of that, is that we need to be in that repeat referral business. And when you look at some of your great speakers, I mean, honestly, you have some great people, my good friend Ed and Shon, they're in the repeat and referral business, but there's a lot of people on here that realize that we have to treat people with respect when they come in the door, right? And it was really eye-opening. I hope a lot of people read that, and I really hope it's a big deal, especially with NADA coming up. I hope Cox really puts that promotion out about that study.
Well, what I'm going to do is when you and Skylar are on the roundtable talking about the study,
Wow.
I will email that out to everybody who's watching on the roundtable at that time during the segment, so everyone gets a copy of it. It's complimentary. You just need to download it. It'll be in your email, and stay tuned for that. Also, behind your shoulder, I see the little round pop-up roundtable from our event that we had there. At this event, we also have a special treat. Dennis Gingrich from the Niello company has an amazing panel on F&I and fixed ops working together.
And I love the slogan, supercharge, right? When you look at it, I believe that, we shared an office for a long, long time, right? And the goal is fixed ops in the service department need to be friends and need to be as one, because you know what? Service contracts drive repeat and referral business. The service drives repeat and referral business, and it's super excited to make sure that you have the right quality service contract company, right? There's a lot of contract companies out there that are not in the repeat and referral business. And I believe that service contracts drive repeat and referral business. I know Dennis and his team is super excited. He had some powerful people on his panel. Wow. Can't wait to see that.
So talk to me about the Knights of the Roundtable, how this all came about only the true believers in the hours can remove the sword from the stone.
God bless you for saying that. I think that I love the Knights of the Roundtable. I love that theme because it brings together when you look at your teams at your stores, bring in those people again, a round table, right? Or a square table. It's great to not in a classroom, but bring everybody together, right? Be that Knights of the Round Table. I love that slogan. And I believe that hours are so powerful. And my good friend Randy Brinkman a long time ago talked me about the hours thing. And honestly, a hook, line, and sinker in it to it, because that's what we sell. And what you're driving home in this great show this time is hours are a huge part of it. It's not, there's a lot of things else, but honestly, the hours are the most important. As we drive repeat referral business, are we selling those maintenance hours? Are we selling, I call competitive tires, right? Alignments, right? Are we selling the things? Repair kind of comes for it. But talk about, are we working to make sure that we drive those maintenance hours, right? And don't chase the dollars. Dollars are a byproduct, but chase the hours at your store. Is your store selling its capacity, right? And the way you look at it is every technician is 10 hours a day. And I always use hourlies as half, so they're 5, right? But here's the deal. Sell your capacity. So at our stores, all we talk about is, did we sell our capacity? They're still interested in dollars because, that's part of their pay plan. But it all steers at, did they sell their capacity of their hours in their store? Please, I can beg you is look at your capacity, see what your capacity is, for one, and then see if you sell it on a daily basis.
Only the true believers of the hours wield the power to pull the sword from the stone. There's a lot of attention now in the industry. Something you put a focus on recently is these tech videos. As part of that multi-point, as part of the inspection you do at the dealership, I know you pay the technicians to do that, to do a quality inspection and a quality video. Yep. It's working extremely well for you. You're rolling it out now and expanding it to service advisor videos. And I'm noticing at this event, a lot of other people are starting to talk about the importance of those videos. Share with us some of your thoughts on that.
The videos to me are a big deal. I think when you look back 5 years, videos were starting to come out and these companies were coming out, were dabbling in the videos. And, it was, the big thing is Les Silver with the digital inspection. God bless him for that, right? And now what we've done is that we've made the digital inspection even better by mandating that we have a video with every inspection. And here's the thing with the video is that we've evolved about that video. The quality of that video, it can't be more than 30 to 45 seconds. A minute's almost too long, right? And it's all about making sure that we just tell people, thank you. I'm the technician working on your car. Show the car, show the underneath, talk about There's certain things that brakes and tires, and then things that need immediate attention. I didn't say red, I didn't say bad, I didn't say horrible. I said needs immediate attention, right? And those are the things they take pictures of, right? But trying to get that connection. And here's the best thing, and you said it, Ted, we pay the technician, right? And if we pay the technician, guess what we get? A better quality inspection, a better quality video, and better quality red pictures of everything that's wrong with those cars, right? And the technician is bought in. Yes, they make money on it, but you know what? They can't make a living doing inspections. And their job is that we measure the hours that we get from all of those great inspections and recommendations. And I call recommendations we'd sell our family members. And we monitor how many hours a technician gets from that. And we've had as high as 60% of their hours come from those, right? So our goal is to show the technician, if you do a video and you do a great quality video, the customer does what? Says yes, because there's three things that we have to worry about: money, trust, and time. And my goal is videos takes away the trust, right? Then it comes down to money, right? And that's an issue we have to deal with. And then it's, of course, it's all about the time. And if we have a program that we can send out where they can use their thumb to say yes, we want to make sure the technician does what? Works on the car on the rack, not the one in the parking lot, which in turn helps him get more efficient. So really those videos have helped us out tremendously. Now you've talked about the rider video. Yes, that's really exciting.
Okay,
and
that's
you,
where I want to go.
we're great in helping me at our pop-up event. We did a couple great shots on that last year. And now we've even got it even better. You know, Sophie came up and we've had some great videos where the service riders got a little timid, but then they saw their customers like, wow, thank you for that video, right? Oh, that's great that you gave me an update, or thank you for showing me that the technician's working on that car. So we're really working hard with vendors to help us track those and also make it easy for us to send those videos to the customers. We don't want to just attach a file. People get scared of that. It's got to be part of the package that we have. As you know, I'm a huge X-Time fan, so I want it really built into that integration like the technician one is. But we've had great success with those. We've had some issues with some of the service advisors getting a little scared, but they're now seeing the light, right? And that the customers say yes, and guess what? They don't have to use the phone as much. Isn't that the best thing ever?
And like our friend Ed says, you know, we're reducing the friction points. We're making it easy to do business.
Correct.
And we're doing business on the customer's terms. Tully, 5 years ago, when you came out to that Fixed Ops Roundtable in Beverly Hills, where you won the very first Best Practice Award, you did a presentation which focused on the hours.
Yeah.
I want to come back to that for a moment. You know, a lot of the 20 groups, a lot of the measurables that are out there in the industry, you know what I mean. You know, they're talking about effective labor rate and average hours per repair order. But you hearkened us to the point that, you know what, the true believers in the hours are the ones who are making a difference. And it is the hours that we need to be focused on. I know Randy had something to do with that early on in your career, but tell us why that became your message.
You know, I think that when you analyze a shop, and you think about it's like pay plans. If your pay plan has 7 pages in it, it's too long. It honestly should have like 2 bullet points, right? Do this and that, and you get blank. And I believe that we have to make it simple. Also, the service manager, parts manager, service writer, technician, foreman's team leads, parts counter people, all should be on the same measurement. When you have parts and service managers fighting for gross, what is the first thing a parts guy says? Who's paying for the freight? I don't really care about the freight, right? We take away that friction because the parts manager and the service manager need each other so badly, right? You know, my good friend Larry Sherman, which, you know, he's on a panel, right?
Yes.
And they work really, really well together, as all of our parts and service managers are part of the fixed team. I don't like only time I talk about parts is wholesale. That's it. Otherwise, it's the fixed team, right? Because as the parts guys like to say, parts sells hours, because we would not make a living. So really getting everybody on the same kind of pay plan, so then everybody's going after that one achievement. Sell the hour, make the customer happy, be in the repeat referral business. You know, and Randy kind of exploded out where everybody was chasing gross. And, you know, here's the thing about chasing gross. You fire all your expensive techs, right? Don't do any maintenance and just do repair. Well, you know, that doesn't work. So really getting down to the basics of what do you measure on a daily basis. Base everybody's pay plan on that. And guess what? You have success. Our parts and service managers, our parts counter and technicians are all in love with each other, right? We are a huge family that drives for one focus, is to drive hours. As I always like to have I have my 10 at 10s, or on Tuesdays, we talk about fixed ops. And what do parts guys talk about, parts managers? How we're selling hours. What does a service manager talk about? We're selling hours. And it's just like, wow, isn't it great to bring everybody together on that one single focus? And then you have to measure it every day. As you know, TVs behind me are in all of the service drives, all of the shops, to tell everybody how well they're doing. I like to tell everybody how great they are, not how bad they are, how great they are. Rank everybody. Guess what happens? Everyone wants to be green.
Larry Sherman, excited to have him, Tully, on the show for the first time on a parts panel. Going back to that, I'm not asking you to go through the pay plan, but you actually have parts making sure they get paid on hours and vice versa. It's, Tully, very, very smart what you're doing there and bringing everybody together.
When you look at a parts and service manager, what's the difference, right? They both manage something separate, but their whole focus is to drive selling hours and driving gross. So the parts and service managers' pay plans, exactly the same. And the service writers is exactly the same, except the service writers get paid on their own hours and gross, and this parts and service manager get paid on the whole entire store. So we look at 100%, 110, 120, and 130% of capacity. Most of the time we're at 130, which is almost, 12 to 13 hours of tech every day of their life. As I like to say, techs need to go home rich and tired every day and make them happy, right? So our goal is to do that. Now, our service counter was really exciting. It was struggle, but our service counter gets their bonus based off of the hours forecast achievement, which guess what they're in charge of now? Let's get the parts out to the tech. Let's get those parts quicker. Let's not wait 3 weeks for parts. Let's get them today. Not worry about how much it costs to get the part. And guess what happens? The techs are, who's their best friend? Back counter guy. Instead of being the guy that's always like, we always like to blame parts for everything. So now we're working together where all those pay plans work to drive what we want to drive. We want to drive selling those hours. So counter people paid on the forecast. Unbelievable, right? Parts and service managers, service writers on the exact same pay plan. So when I say, where are you? I'm 123%. And they're like, yeah, we need 7% more to max my pay plan out. God bless America.
God bless Tully Williams. You're on a panel also during the show with Mickey Quinn and Ed and Jim Sabino, Vanguard Dealer Services. You're talking about compliance. That was a really good panel. Okay, I'm excited to show that panel. You tell me what you got out of that, because there's a lot of forces out there that are looking at dealers right now and making sure that we are compliant.
When we look on the service side, a lot of compliance for us is signatures. Be calling the customer back, documenting that. We're in California, so our laws are probably a little bit more strict, right? And I always believe if you don't screw the customer over, you don't have to worry about the compliance. But when you look at F&I, and that's what that panel was all about, making sure we do that. Because here, if we don't have a great partner selling F&I products, right? What does that do? It brings down the store. It brings down that you can't trust that store because of complaint issues. So having a great partner client to help us sell F&I products, which drives repeat and referral business, which drives people back in the service drive, is so important. Can you imagine we're doing a great job and all of a sudden we're out of compliant, and next thing you know, we have lawyers, people in our stores? It's the worst thing you can ever do for a store. And here's the deal. The news organizations love bad news. We don't like bad news. So the compliance piece is crazy. And then when you talk to him, when he was talking about what needs to be done, it's insanity, right? Having great partners like that helps our F&I, helps our sales managers make sure they're compliant. It keeps the store in a repeat referral business basis.
Tully, only the true believers in the hours can pull the sword from the stone. You used that analogy of the Roundtable there at Niello. Tell us about that, if you don't mind.
So I like to bring my parts and service managers together. So yearly we have a group meeting. We talk about our successes, which we just did in January. It was super exciting. But then I also bring my parts and service managers together separately on a bi-monthly basis, right? We bring them all in, and I've always called it the Knights of the Round Table, because we put the tables in a big circle or a big square, and we go or walk around. I have an agenda, but the goal is I want all of the service managers to talk with each other, right, and learn from each other, and we come up with ideas together. It's not one store, it's 10 stores. And there's things that we want to have the stores to do that are, on their own basis, but the fundamental things are all the same. And like, wow, that's a great idea, Scott. I want to do that. Or that's a great idea, Rob, or whatever, right? And we bring those things together and we learn from each other. Before they were scared to death. We'll tell you what we're going to talk about. Because, sometimes we're in there like 3 hours or more, right? And next thing you know, they're like, we almost want to do this on a monthly basis. So we do a dinner every 2 months, the nights of the roundtable, and then we do a lunch on the off ones, which is a little bit less. We usually have a very short agenda, but just get everybody together and say, hey, I'm here. What can I do to help you? Parts guys, same way, right? What do you talk about on parts? Inventory? Well, you know what? There's so many things to help sell ours. The parts department, the parts managers, and I always bring their assistants in as well, right? If we have assistant parts manager or assistant service manager, so they can learn from that. But bringing people together is a huge deal. As you know, look at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, right? Bringing people together that want to do great. That's what it's all about.
Tully, you mentioned you do that every other month, and look, same thing here. We talk about best practices, best ideas, from a 1-day event to 2 days to 3, and now, this event is full. This is a full 4 days event, and hard to believe there's so much in Fixed Ops, but we're indebted to you. You're anchor of the event, and I want to thank you for all you do for fixed operations, because you have helped put it on the map, my friend. And I'm excited today for the Nights of the Roundtable and everything that we have in store for the next 4 days.
And, Ted, as all of us, Ed and Shon, my good friends of the Fixed Op table, we can't thank you enough for bringing Fix together. I mean, bringing Fix to the highlight and profiling all these great people around the country. And that what you did, you started with a couple hours on one day, and now it's 4 days full. Can you believe 4 days full of great things, all because of you, Mr. Ings? I can't thank you enough.
All because of you and Ed and Sarah and Marco and, Shon Kingrey, all of our great friends. So
100%.
Tully Williams, thank you for everything you do. Looking forward to seeing you now coming up on the event and all the panels and everything we have in store.
Thank you, sir.
Tully Williams, everybody, anchor of the Roundtable, the Niello Company in Sacramento, here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable to get things started. Nights of the Roundtable.
Wish us luck today. Seatbelt, John. What are you forgetting?
Oh, mirrors. You sound just like Dad. Hey, Mom, where do you find the oil stick thingy?
Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, Sheila, anything you need.
Okay.
Have a great game, buddy.
Thanks, I'll try.
It's your first time out. Relax. Have fun.
Wait, you're not going home? Mom, can I? Oh, seatbelt. That was awesome.
Can we take some time to think about it?
Of course. Mom. All right, bye, Mom.
Have a good day, honey. Drive safe.
Life is about connection, having a support system to lean on, and roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
Learn to level up and assess talent in our industry with Northwood University President Kent MacDonald and Northwood Marketing Student Marketing Chair for the Northwood International Auto Show, Brooke Engelhardt.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It is a great honor to present this segment to you. We have with us today Kent MacDonald, who is the president of Northwood University, and he is joined by Brooke Engelhardt, who is a marketing student at Northwood University. Not only that, but Brooke also is the marketing chair at the 60th Annual International Auto Show. I had a chance to meet both of them in person just a few months back in October. Kent and Brooke, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Great to be here, Ted. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. And Brooke, happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you.
Excited about this segment. Kent, you and I met when we were up there for the 60th Annual International Auto Show in October of just last year. And great opportunity. I'd like to ask you a few questions today. And of course, thank you for Northwood's participation at the Fixed Ops Roundtable as well. We've really enjoyed the time working with your people, your staff, your students, and just a whole lot of opportunity coming out of Northwood.
Oh, it is great to be here, Ted. You know, many of your listeners have good connections to Northwood. Some of your sponsors do as well, and so it's a joy for us to be able to share some latest and greatest news coming from Northwood. Particularly having a student here as well. Good morning. Hi, Brooke.
And Kent, I thought that the highlight of our last event were the students of Northwood University. And I want to talk to you today and ask you about building the foundation for a successful career, particularly in the automotive industry. It's been known for a long time, and probably more important now than ever, that it starts at Northwood University. Kent, why is that?
There's a lot of layers to it, Ted. I think history plays an important role, but in that history, Northwood continues to be well grounded in what the founders of Northwood thought a university should be. That was all the way back in 1959. And if you could dial back to 59, that was the same moment that Cuba fell to Castro. That same year, we had 70 countries meeting in the Soviet Union about exploring communism. And here in America, that was really troubling to a lot of people, in particular our founders. So we have this deep commitment to what we think has made America the greatest republic in the world, and that is this commitment to free enterprise and personal responsibility. We'll touch on that maybe a little bit later, but those themes have continued on, and we're really unequivocal in terms of what we think a university is meant to be. And there's a lot of debate, among some faculty, and I get very philosophical. But when you speak with students like Brooke, and you speak with their parents, there's no confusion that they expect an education to be an investment that's going to lead to a better life. And so for us, it's our students being prepared to go out and join industry and make a real difference. And we believe that is our mission. And I think that's why Northwood students and graduates continue to get multiple job offers when they're leaving here, in particular in the automotive, mobility, the aftermarket sector. And look forward to explaining a little bit more about that as we go through this.
Kent, one of the things that impressed me most is that your students are looking forward to a successful business career, many of them in the automotive industry. I mean, they know about the automotive industry. They can speak to the automotive industry. They've got internship experience, hands-on experience. And what does that look like now? Here we are, first few weeks of the new year in 2024. What does that look like?
Well, for us, our students, I think it's first of all grounded in a philosophy, and we did a survey to ensure that our programs and our curricula remains current. And one of the people we surveyed said, why I always hire Northwood graduates is they know how to make money, and so. We deeply believe, first of all, from a student point of view, that democratic capitalism is extremely important. It raises all boats. It gives communities hope. It lets people get out of their beds in the morning and make a difference. So with that philosophy, then you have a culture here, Ted, when you were on campus, as you mentioned, our 60 years of having our auto show. So it's grounded in our culture, not only in our automotive management program and our aftermarket program, but students who are taking marketing and finance and supply chain management, cybersecurity, all of these things are related back into the automotive or mobility sector. And so our graduates are, they come out knowing the industry, they know how to speak the language, so they are able to hit the ground running as soon as they graduate. And I think it's not one simple thing. It's just decades of developing a culture where all of these things are important.
Kent and Brooke, it's an exciting time to be in the automotive industry. Probably, I don't remember a time anywhere near such as today, and the opportunities that young people have coming into the industry. Kent, why is it that the industry continues to view Northwood as the school to launch automotive careers? I mean, and I'll ask Brooke about this. There's a lot of choices out there for parents and students, but Kent, it seems to us that Northwood is the school.
Yeah, I think again, it's built in history. We're into third generation individuals now, where some of our students or grandparents came to Northwood, so that life cycle has been really helpful to us, as well as our connection into industry. Many of your supporters and sponsors are very close to us, friends of ours. And Brooke, I'm not sure if you've had job offers, but I can say this with great excitement, that our graduates literally have multiple job offers when they're leaving Northwood. And again, our experiential opportunities, our internships that industry offer our students, I think that the industry basically feels comfortable knowing that by connecting with Northwood, by sponsoring students through scholarships, which a lot of industries do for us, providing them internships, and then being in this culture that still, supports this idea of free enterprise and personal responsibility. You put all of that together, I think it's a magical solution for Northwood. All the people who've come well before me, I apply the Hippocratic Oath to me, and that is do no harm to this strength that Northwood has. And going into these next several years, I agree, Ted, this is a remarkable time to be in the automotive industry, and we're glad that Northwood University is leading the way in terms of education and training.
Kent, you mentioned Brooke. I know she is one of your brightest students, and she was very instrumental in organizing this year's 60th International Auto Show. Before we get, and Brooke, I have questions for you. Before I do, Ken, I'd like you to help set the stage. Tell us more about what we hear is the Northwood idea. Give us some of the color behind that, if you would.
Sure. So we're really clear where Northwood stands as a university. It actually goes back all the way to 1963. There was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Orville Watts. He joined Northwood. He left Harvard to come to Northwood, and he started to look at what makes this place so different. And out of those came these tenets that really, I think, go back to the founding fathers. Things like a commitment to free enterprise, limited government in our life. Now, nowhere do we say no government. We just think that limited government and allowing people to live their lives more freely is important to us. Personal and private property, rule of law, and my favorite that I see, Ted, and probably makes our students so attractive to industry is personal responsibility. That you have to get up in the morning, put your shoes on and get at it. And I see that every day in people like Brooke and our students. I say, look, I love our students because they give me hope. And as you walked around the campus, you don't see graffiti here. You don't see garbage on the ground. And it really comes back to the Northwood idea, how to put all of those things ranging from democratic capitalism, free enterprise, and limited government and personal responsibility all into one package. And our students start to hear about that even before they arrive at Northwood. At our opening ceremony, I speak to it. And then in the very first year of classes, students are exposed to these types of principles. And I think that they make a great graduate. And again, I know Brooke, and she represents our students so well.
And Kent, if I may follow up with one thing I noticed, you also provide the students there with real world experience, and you give them they're graduating even before they graduate with hands-on experience in the real world. What does that look like throughout the university's entire curriculum?
Right. So it's a philosophy that we have, Ted, that if you think of a classroom, I like to refer to those as artificial spaces. And the notion that one person can stand up there and profess, as a professor does, everything that the student needs to know, that ignores everything we know about how people learn. And our belief is you need great faculty, and we have them, and you do need some classroom work. But the more that we can take that out into the real world and have students apply it, the more likely it is that they're going to be better prepared. What I say to our students when they arrive is, I ask them, hey, does anyone here know how to ride a bicycle? And they all, of course, raise their hand. And then I say, so who learned to ride a bike in a classroom reading a book? And I use that analogy because none of them do. And in order to ride a bike, you need to get on it. You need to fall down. You scrape your knees a few times, and you keep going. That's fundamentally how we develop leaders. It's how we develop a deeper learning. And so through Auto Show is just one example of that, but internships and more opportunities for our students to get out and work with industry in the real world, we think deepens the learning experience. And we're very proud of that.
There's a lot to admire here. Brooke, I first met you in October. We did the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event at the 60th Annual International Auto Show. You led a panel, very impressive. Brooke, tell us a little bit more about what that Northwood idea means to you as a student there at the university.
Yeah, so way back my junior year of high school, I had visited Northwood on a bus trip with my marketing class. And I went around campus. I was very enthusiastic about being able to see all the aspects of Northwood's campus in person. But when I had found Northwood, it felt like home and somewhere that I knew I'd be able to feel comfortable, but I'd also be able to put myself into situations that would challenge me and give me that challenge that I deserve and I deserve to have as a student at Northwood. I'd also done a lot of research about Northwood, and knowing that the Northwood idea, Northwood's mission, and Northwood's values, knowing that it all aligned with my values, I knew that it sealed the deal for me that Northwood was the right choice.
I love it. Brooke, let me ask you, while here at Northwood and out in the world doing internships, as many of the students do, how has the Northwood idea influenced you personally?
Yeah, so the Northwood idea has influenced me by giving me a better understanding of how Northwood's education that I'm receiving currently today, it's going to better shape my future. It's definitely an investment that's worth discussing, and I'm currently devoting my time to a Northwood education, which then is giving up the opportunity to devote my time to any other pursuits that I'd be interested in engaging with in the present. Currently, I have an internship with MEMA, or Motor and Equipment Manufacturers Association. I specifically work with the MEMA OE team, or the original equipment team, and it's greatly sparked my interest in working in the automotive industry. And so the experiences that I've had in the classroom have actually prepared me for this internship, as well as helping me feel grounded too.
Kent, I've got to tell you that since we were up there in October at Northwood, Brooke followed up with an email to me, copied of several of people there at Northwood. And I got to tell you, Kent, this was a very professionally done email. And I showed it to a number of my peers and they said, wow, who wrote this? Is a college student. I said, yes, at Northwood University. So Kent, you're really preparing and you've really got the best of the best there with your students at Northwood, Kent.
Well, thank you. Look, every president's proud of their students. I do get that. But I'll say that Northwood students, it's part of what happens here. I think we also simply attract great students like Brooke and many others. And there's a level of maturity. I'm sure they have a great time on Friday night, like they should at their age, but there is a sense of maturity, and I think they know what they want to do in their lives, and that is get out and make a difference. You know, Brooke mentioned her investment. It's a really important point, Brooke, I think you make, because I'm not a fan of university rankings, the methodologies that are used, but there is one that Georgetown comes out with, a great, school out on the East Coast, and they look at what is the return on the investment for someone who's going to put their earnings on the table and say, I'm prepared to study with you for 4 years, but where do I show up in 4 years? And I think this is part of the problem where so many graduates are asking for taxpayers to pay their debts based on the programs that they happen to choose. And Georgetown has shown over the last many years that Northwood graduates, this little school in Midland, is in the top 11% of all the 4,500 colleges across the country in terms of the return on investment. So in other words, you come here, you pay a tuition, you make that investment, but where are you going to be in 20 or 30 or 40 years? And I think that's one more aspect that attracts great students like Brooke, and but also is good for mothers and fathers to give some thought to it as well.
Brooke, I want to ask you, how have some of the opportunities at Northwood how have they helped challenge you and help you grow as a person? If you don't mind, maybe if you could, point us to some of those.
Absolutely, yeah. Northwood has so many opportunities for students to apply what they're learning in the classrooms to a full real-world experience. And one of those many real-world experiences that I've been able to be a part of is, as we've mentioned, the Northwood University International Auto Show. This auto show is North America's largest outdoor new car show, and it's 100% student ran. And it's definitely an event that I'm proud to have been a part of. And this year's show, the 60th show, which had taken place the first weekend of October, was truthfully outstanding. I was the marketing chair for this year's show, and being able to guide my marketing team and implement marketing efforts for the show was an unforgettable experience. I'm proud to say that for next year's show, I'm the chief marketing officer, and my team and I already have plans in store for the 61st NUIAS, and we can't wait. I've also worked on campus as a student ambassador for Northwood University admissions, being one of the first faces that prospective students see when visiting NU is a true treasure. I've also had many collaborations with Northwood University's marketing and have been able to utilize my own skill sets with projects of theirs. Another thing, too, is I've also been the co-president of Northwood University's American Marketing Association chapter. I've been able to compete in a couple of sales competitions for AMA, and I've placed well. One of the biggest accomplishments, though, that I'm proud to share of is being sashed as Northwood University's 2023 NU Fresh Air Ambassador. This means that I'm seen as a student leader of Northwood University who exemplifies Northwood's mission, vision, and values, and even their code of ethics, which spell out Fresh Air as an acronym. And so Fresh Air stands for freedom, respect, empathy, spirituality, honesty, achievement, integrity, and responsibility. And I'm very proud to have held this position since this past October, and I hold it alongside of Jalen Pitchford, the other Fresh Air Ambassador.
Brooke, when do you graduate?
I will be graduating in May of 2025.
Okay. All right. I think you're gonna be in big demand. Even a lot earlier. Kent, very impressive. When we listen to your students like Brooke.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask, where do you find the time, Brooke, to fit it all in? You're so much further than I was at your age, and I'm proud of you. The other point here is just coming up very shortly, Ted, when you talk about the different experiences, we'll have a large group of Northwood students heading out to NADA, the same as a couple dozen were at Apex SEMA as well, and that gives a lot of your listeners an opportunity to meet Northwood students. I would encourage all of them to come see our booth. Mike Stanton, he and his team are going to put on a great show. Mike's on our board of trustees, and I'll be out there as well. So I'll look forward to meeting people and again, just seeing our students in action.
Well, I'll give you both the last word in a lightning round. Brooke first, and then I'll come to Kent MacDonald. When people ask you about your experiences at Northwood University and what the future holds, Brooke, what do you tell people? And then I'll come to Kent for the last word.
Yeah, I mean, Northwood isn't just automotive. I would say that we are a premier business school. So anyone who's interested in a career in business, if they talk to me, I always tell them that Northwood is the place to be. And Northwood also has some great competitive programs like AMA that I had mentioned. Our mock trial and competitive speech teams are phenomenal. We also have a robust athletics department that offers many different varsity sports, and both the men and Lady Timberwolves have some competitive programs. We have a very philanthropic Greek community and over 40 registered student organizations on campus. I guess to sum it up, I'd say to me, all of that is Northwood. Opportunities abound for those who are willing to work hard and to challenge themselves to grow as a person, a student, and a future professional. And mostly I tend to look at the return on investment when I talk to others about Northwood. I always tell them that the graduates of my school are leaving employed, and that over a third of our alumni network owns some or all of their own business. So career outcomes and return on investment are big questions that I've gotten. And again, I think that Northwood's track record tends to show that it'll deliver your return on investment, especially if you put in the work and adopt the Northwood idea.
Brooke, very, very impressive. Kent, you've got to be extremely proud of everything happening right now and where Northwood is currently in our industry.
I am. I like to say that others have set the table, and no, I just get to eat from it. And so we do have this wonderful history, Ted. I would just pick up on a couple of really important points that Brooke eloquently shared there. And one is this notion of imagine any university where just over a third of your graduates co-own their own company. That's part of what I refer to as Northwood as a business factory. I think in fairness, most business schools now are management schools, but we are unapologetic about our commitment that we think our communities thrive when we can create opportunities through private enterprise. And for every student that comes to Northwood, I see a young person with a hope and a heart and often a dream. And our job here is we're not ever going to compete to be the largest, the richest university, but we do think we transform lives at Northwood. And we have evidence across North America and literally around the world of Northwood graduates who have gone on to do great things. And so if someone's considering where you might want to go to a school, I would encourage them. Look, in everything in life, there's these brand name items, if it's clothing or automotive, but to think a little more deeply about what's the experience, like the things that Brooke shared, and where do you see yourself in 20 years? And we're proud of our record, and this is a loving community, a safe community, and look forward to meeting the next crop of students. Imagine they come, we're in January, so another 8 months, and a whole new crew are headed our way, so we'll look forward to meeting them. But I'm happy that we have Brooke for another year after that, so that's good, Brooke.
Yeah. Northwood is rich in many ways. I'm very grateful today. I'd like to thank Kent MacDonald, who's the president at Northwood University, for spending some time with us, along with Brooke Engelhardt, who's a marketing student and marketing chair of the annual International Auto Show at Northwood, very well known. Kent, thank you so much. And Brooke, thank you so much for your time today, and very honored to have you both with us here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Everybody, a lot of information on Northwood. We'll put it up on the screen. You see the Northwood information there, and we want you to reach out. A lot of opportunities and a lot of great people have come out and continue to come out of Northwood. So Kent and Brooke, thank you so much today.
Take care. Great.
Kent MacDonald, everybody, and Brooke Engelhardt with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Your sales guy just got back from the test drive, and his customer's excited and ready to talk. So he heads over to the sales desk to get the numbers.
Whoa! Get in line. It's going to be a minute.
It shouldn't be so hard. With AutoFi's dynamic desking solution, your salespeople can immediately present numbers to customers while their buying temperature is at its peak. And with the management guardrails and controls that protect gross. You know what kills deals in gross? Time. AutoFi eliminates the waiting and expedites the yes. Sell cars faster with higher customer satisfaction, all while protecting gross. AutoFi, because selling a car shouldn't be so hard.
My Karma, everything fixed ops in one place. The first truly unified solution for fixed operations. A comprehensive suite of key applications, deeply integrated with software and DMS providers, and open APIs that offer unprecedented opportunities for dealerships to build custom solutions. My Karma, a proven name with over $21 billion in payments processed, 423 million text messages transmitted, and over 9.5 million videos recorded. My Karma users enjoy an average 16% lift in RO dollars. And innovative solutions like our advanced Scheduler Plus and Service Cart Video MPI transform the service experience. My Karma. Find out more at NADA booth 2170W.
Hey, it's Jim Sabino here, All-American Ford Mobile Service at your service. Check this baby out. This is one of our newest units to add to our fleet of mobile vans to service you, our customers. Coming around back here, I'm going to show you inside exactly how this van works for you. All right, as you can see, this is a fully equipped mobile service van that does everything. It's like a mobile hospital. That's right, we can do it all in this truck. Come on inside, I'm going to get into the details on how this baby works for you. So we can do oil changes. We got oil filters on stock, air filters, wiper blades, cabin air filters, recalls. We have this laptop here. There's all the programming of all the modules, and any recall that we can do on the road, we will do it for you. That's right. Check this out. Look at this equipment that we have in this truck. Fully equipped, mobile technicians come to you. Certified technicians at your site, at your place of business. You call us, text us, email us. Our mobile service coordinator will take all your information, make the appointment, and our mobile van will show up on location at your convenience, perform the service that you need. All American Ford Mobile Service, check us out.
Here are the mighty knights of the Roundtable themselves. It's the Automax Tech Avengers panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It's time for the fan favorite, the Automax Tech Avengers panel, led by none other than Joe Lockard from Automax Recruiting and Training. Joe, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, how are you? It's always good to be here.
Fantastic. My friend, you now lead what is the #1 panel on the Roundtable. You've been doing this quite a while. It's been going a long time, and everyone looks forward to this.
It's been 8 or 9, and it's really good. It's go back and kind of rewatch them after we've been through it, and we kind of get caught up in it, and it's very organic once we get going. But you rewatch, and there's a lot of good information in there. So I'm honored to be here with all these gentlemen here today.
Yeah, what a great all-star lineup. So Joe, I'm going to get out of the way. Sure. I'm going to let you get to work and get things started here on the panel. So here we go.
You got it. Thanks, Ted. All right. As always, I like to go around the room here. If we do have any first-time viewers. I'm starting with Tully Williams because we missed you last time. Hey, Tully, what's up?
Yeah, so sorry, I can't wait. I'm out here on the West Coast with my good friend, Mr. Mike Weldon. So excited to be on this panel.
Absolutely. Tully's fixed ops director for the Niello company and out in the Sacramento area in California. We're here late January. You a New Year's resolution guy? You got any resolutions for us?
Sell more hours.
Okay. Nope, that's applicable. I'll take it. That's a good one. All right, sir. Well, we did miss you. We had a good one last time, but it just wasn't the same without you in it, man. So
appreciate that much, very much.
Yeah, glad you're back. Next, Jim Sabino. Jim is fixed ops director for All American Ford in Paramus, New Jersey. This is Jim's second time on the show. It was nice getting to know you a little bit the first time. How were things in Jersey, my friend?
Things are well, Joe. Thanks again. Last time we were together was a great panel, great discussions. Looking forward to this one. We're a month into 2024. Things are rocking and rolling here, All American. We're doing the best we can. We're bobbing, we're weaving with changes, and we're trying to make the best of it. Have another great year. So
good, man. Good. It's great to have you again. Next, Robert Migliaccio, Service Director at CMA Valley, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Stanton, Virginia. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Joe. Good to see you. Good to see everybody again. One of my favorite time of year, getting with you guys and doing this panel, man. Love it.
Absolutely, man. You still balling down there? You guys, you're still playing, right?
We are. Adult season, little rec league's about to get started up again soon here, so we'll be playing. There'll be some posts coming up.
So you guys do play in a league. You're not just out there playing, messing around in the mornings. You guys play in a league.
We play in the morning, then we do the rec league when they do like a men's league play set. So we'll join that.
But you guys hold your own?
We do all right. I think we do all right for what we are. I'm not gonna lie.
No comment. I'll leave that alone. I'm amazed and impressed and blown away that you guys are out there playing. So that's beyond anything I could do. It's awesome having you here, though, man. I appreciate you. Next, Mike Weldon. Mike is fixed ops director for the Hansel Auto Group in Santa Rosa, California. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm just west of Tully. He's there and I'm here. and
Right.
out here in lovely California. And it's going to be a 24-karat year. I'm looking
Good,
forward
man.
to everything that's good that's going to come out of it. And it's
How about
all
you?
based on
Any
tech
solid
productivity
resolutions
and
or
hours.
anything objective?
I beg your pardon?
Any solid resolutions for you? Anything objective? Any big goals, plans?
Well, I always have big goals and plans. I just got to get everybody else to follow my ideas.
There you go.
So I'm starting my meeting. So every meeting I have, I get it. So you probably all have heard that if you go to, a lot of people go to meetings to listen, but not everybody goes to learn. And
Sure.
the reason why they don't learn is because they don't take pen and paper. So this year, my resolution is everybody, every meeting has pen and paper, and they take away one thing.
I love it. I'm a pen and paper guy, and we've got kind of an older workforce internally here, and I was amazed. I got one recruiter; she's got a whiteboard behind her. I'm like, oh, I love the whiteboard. She's got all her notes on there. I mean, I use technology, but there's nothing like seeing your own handwriting and scribbling it down, getting it in the head 2 or 3 different times. I love it. Good stuff. Next, Marco Zwanenburg. Marco is our resident automotive technician expert. He's working down there in Naples Luxury Imports. How are you, my friend?
I am doing great. Like the year of the dragon, so we're spitting fire and melting iron. Let's get them going, 24, let's rock it.
It is the year of the dragon. My
sure
daughter's my daughter's in a Chinese immersion program at school, so I get close with the Chinese New Year every year. So
nice.
It's a good year. It's a good year. All right, my friend.
Absolutely.
It's good to have you as always.
Glad to be here.
Next is Shon Kingrey. Shon's VP of Fixed Operations for the Kaiser Automotive Group. Shon, how you doing, man?
I'm great. Sunny, warm Wisconsin. It's great out here for late January. What more could you ask?
Yeah, it's getting a little cold here. It's funny. I was talking to one of your service managers today, and every time we're trying to relocate technicians to Wisconsin, I try to sympathize and I say I'm from Cleveland. But I make sure to put the caveat in there that I can't actually sympathize because the things that go on up there in wintertime in Wisconsin are just, God bless you guys.
It's a different state depending if you listen. Down here in Madison's a lot different than Pulaski, Green Bay, O'Connell Falls. Yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 hours north of here, a lot different. But yeah, listen, this is what you do here. This is why you move here. So.
Yeah, you got to love it, right? I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. All right, sir. Thanks for joining us as always. And last but certainly not least, Tom Druzynski, Director of Service Operations for West Her Automotive Group in Orchard Park, New York. Tom, that beard is coming in, my friend.
It's a shame that it's all gray. I think about I'm 45, and if I played ball like Joe, like I take a sweater off too quick now, and my shoulders messed up for weeks. Terrible.
Yeah, I play a lot of tennis, and it's getting to my shoulder too. I can't imagine basketball. I tried basketball for a bit, and it wrecked my legs and my knees, man. You guys are.
I miss it. My ankles aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, right. I'm impressed that you're out there. All right, sir. Well, thanks for joining us, Tom, as always. I want to get started here. As I say every time, we have a ton to get to. We've covered a lot here. We've discussed a lot of different panels, as Ted alluded to. I think this is my 8th or 9th, and we've uncovered a lot of great nuggets of information here. Myself being the owner of automotive recruiting company, I try to keep the focus, somewhat around recruiting and retention of automotive technicians. Obviously, it's a big concern within the industry, and I feel it's where we're best served. But I think something that we've all discovered as we've done these is that recruiting and retention are kind of one and the same. Retaining your talent obviously reduces the need to have to constantly be looking for new talent. And then, of course, the things that you use to retain your best technicians are the same things that you should be promoting out there to help attract new top talent. So with that in mind, we're going to discuss something today that we feel should be the focus of really any shop, both for retention and recruiting, and that is improving technician efficiency. We all talk a lot, and you guys have shared with us, and Marco, you've shared some of the things that the leadership at your dealership use, some of those intangibles. We talk a lot about culture. We talk a lot about the leadership that permeates throughout all your service departments. But at the end of the day, you know, like everyone else, technicians want to maximize their earning potential. And by and large, the flat rate pay system is still the, you know, preferred method of conversation or compensation, and it's the way that technicians can maximize their earning potential. But along with that, you know, Marco, again, you've mentioned that this isn't something that you want to do for another 20 years. There is kind of a shelf life on a technician. So when they're in those prime earning years, how can we maximize the time that they spend in the service department without killing them and burning them out by the time, you know, that they're 40, 45 years old? And I think at the end of the day, that falls on us, on you guys as fixed op leaders. You know, regardless of the skill set and the motivation, if you're not showing them the proper way to maximize their efficiency when they're at work, they're just going to be spinning their wheels and they will eventually burn out. So with that in mind, I want to kick it around here like we always do. Tom, I want to start with you because I know this is a topic that's very important to you, and you had mentioned that this is going to be a big priority for your stores in 2024. If you don't mind, can you kind of share with me, you know, maybe some of the things you're looking to implement this year to improve that within your technicians, and maybe some things that you've already been doing to help your top guys, you know, like I said, increase efficiency?
Sure. So on the service world, as we all know on this panel, it's all about the hours, right? That's the only thing as a business right now that service, that's what we have to sell, right? We sell hours. We buy hours from our technicians, we sell them to our customers. So if we're looking to retain our technicians, we're looking to recruit the top talent, we want to be the place where those technicians want to come to work. We want to give them the ability to maximize the amount of hours that they have to sell to us, right? And then in turn, that gives us the maximum amount of hours to be able to sell to our customers. So technicians live their lives 6 minutes at a time. Every time 6 minutes elapsed and they didn't flag time, they just lost money. That's their inventory down the drain, never to come back. So my goal is that, you know, looking at a bunch of different stores. So we got spots where we're absolutely maxed. Can't bring another toolbox in the shop, but still have to find a way to pull those hours and make sure those guys have the ability to grow. So efficiency this year is going to be the key. And it's a multi-step approach. Everything from just the way that you position your equipment in the shop. You know, where you put your tire equipment. Is it near the door in the parts department so the tires are coming out right there? Or is it all the way on the other side and then they've got to lug junk tires over this way? You know, we talk about the spaghetti, eliminating the spaghetti. Put red paint on your technicians' feet, watch where they go throughout the day, and it's all over the place. If you have the ability to wind that down, shorten those steps, you know, that's something that's going to give them some time back. Another thing for us, a lot of stores, a lot of brands, especially if you have General Motors, for instance. General Motors, you can't use acronyms anymore, even though they are famous for they invented the TLA, right? The 3-letter acronym. That's a General Motors acronym. Everything's acronyms now in their warranty stores. No more acronyms. You got to type it all out. So we have technicians, and especially some of the guys that are not as computer savvy, that are spending half an hour a day actually typing out stories from some of these complicated warranty jobs that they're doing. So one of the things that we've implemented at all stores is Joe McHugh, who founded this a product called Pencil Wrench, writes the stories for the technicians. These guys now, they can just point and click. As I started to look into this a little bit more and talking to more of the technicians, I find out that they're losing time because the advisors are not giving them the proper complaint statements, right? They're not doing a good enough job interviewing the customer, asking the questions that they need to give the technician what they need to properly diagnose the vehicle. They spend some time, they got to go back to the advisor, ask some more questions. Advisor's got to call the customer. Now we've wasted everybody's time. So Pencil Wrench also, and this is not an ad for Pencil Wrench by any means, but they've also built a product for service advisors and for the BDC. That's the same exact thing. It's a point and click step through of all of the questions to ask if you're dealing with particular problems. So you are giving this technician a perfectly crafted complaint statement. So again, for us, anything that we can do to maximize the amount of times that we can buy from the tech and sell to the customers, that makes for happy technicians. That makes for a place where they want to come to work.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned it's not a plug, but look, that's what we're here for, right? I mean, that's what this panel turns into. There's other fixed ops leaders out there. There's other technicians out there listening, and we're trying to put our minds together and come up with best practices. And I think these are things that, your average technician and maybe even your average service manager, they're not even thinking of that. When you're thinking of ways to improve efficiency, you think of the big ones. You don't think of stuff like that it doesn't look big on paper, but it adds up over time, and it costs everybody money. It's awesome. Great program. Very cool. Thank you, Tom. Marco, I want to come to you. Like I said, you're our veteran technician here, and you have mentioned that this probably isn't something that you're going to do until you're 60 years old, and I'm assuming the physical side of that plays a role in that. So getting the most out of your time is very important to you and to your technician brothers and sisters. You had mentioned to me that, when people think of improving efficiency, it goes right to factory training and AES training, all the black and white training, but stuff that Tom just mentioned there, and the things that you really don't think of or know until you're actually inside a service department are what really make an efficient technician. What are some things that you've seen over the years that can really turn this into a big time career for a skilled technician?
Well, unfortunately nowadays, especially with the amount of warranty work that's, on your daily platter, it's almost like going to court to get paid. It's like going to court. You have to prove, you have to bring evidence. A lot of times, technicians are just left with just do this. And then afterwards they get barked at because, oh, you didn't mention this, or you didn't have that in there, la, 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 yada, yada, yada. So a lot of it comes down to effective CNC writing, cause and correction writing. You get paid by the word, if you ask me, when it comes to warranty. You substantiate, you put your values in there, your test values, your hows and whats, you will get paid. And a lot of technicians leave money laying on the table. In my years with the Star, when I was a team leader, I was able to teach my team effectively how to use it. And the people that went from, oh my God, another warranty job, they were like, yes, warranty, they can't say no, versus customer pay. You spend 2 hours diagnosing a car, you get paid 1 hour diet because the customer said, nah, forget about it. So that's one of the things that we can definitely work at. And I am very familiar with Reynolds Reynolds. It's pretty much the only system I've worked with, and especially with Ignite. Tom was mentioning pencil wrench. You can have your own little pencil wrench in there because you can copy and paste. We do a lot of the same repairs. So instead of having to type it out every time, you can say, okay, found code U1011-ABC. Did this, that, and that, and that, and that. You see this code 3-4 times a day. Copy and paste your CNC, save it in a little Word document. Next time a car comes up, boom, boom, done. Another thing you have to hold in mind is, and this is very specific per manufacturer, is your warranty compliance. Not every manufacturer wants to see the same things or wants to see the same things mentioned. So if you switch, like, again, coming from the Star, where you had to mention PIN numbers, wiring color codes, etc., on your warranty repair stories. Now with Jaguar Land Rover, if you just mention a pin and maybe a connector, you don't need to mention the wiring color code. Well, if you don't know that, you're sitting there wasting time. Yeah, okay, so typing GYBN for gray brown doesn't seem like much, but do that 10 times a day, do that 5 times a week, and you're losing a lot of money. So it all comes down to not just the technical training, but how effective can you literally write your paycheck? Coming back to Tully, going home tired but rich. Okay, I want to go home tired but rich, but I don't want to go home aching and tired and rich. Sure. So where can we find more money? We're finding more money in the things that most technicians go like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit there and type. Teach them once and let them see the benefits, like actually show them the differences in their paychecks, the differences in hours. They go like, holy moly, I leave how much laying on the table every time? Then they start paying attention. And also saying like the pencil wrench and other programs like that. There's plenty of stuff out there that can help us be more efficient, keep us in our base, because that's where we make our money. It's fantastic programs out there. And I'm sure that, you guys have things in place that will help with that as well. So I'm curious to hear what Tully is doing, what Robert is doing, Jim, Mike, Shon. What are you guys doing to make me more efficient? So at the end of the day, we all go home rich.
Right. And I think, like anything, you don't know what you don't know. So all these things that you're talking about need to be clearly articulated to the technicians. And then you got to find the time to show them and to teach them and train them that. And it can't cost them money, right? So you got to pay them while they're learning, which I think is massively important. I think it's why you see a lot of technicians who kind of just get stuck in a way of doing things, and they keep doing it because they got to go. They got to go. Time is money. So they can't stop and slow down and learn a new process or learn a new skill. So all good things. I appreciate your input, Mark. All right, Tully, I'm coming to you. Like I said, you weren't on the last show, so I'm mostly just going to get out of your way and let you go. You've got fun.
Well, I believe that there's a few things here that we need to think about. One is your pay plans tied around hours. Service manager, parts counter people, anybody in the shop, anybody involved in fixed ops is tied to producing hours. Back counter people's bonuses is not tied to gross because they have nothing to do with gross. It's tied to production. So that tells me that we want to make everybody's focus is to do what? To sell hours. Two is that have parts people in the shop. A couple of our stores have room in the shop to have a parts guy sit at a counter. So that's those guys. So instead of walking 500 footsteps or 50 footsteps, they're walking 3 footsteps. And I think that helps the efficiency. The next piece is this, is that I believe the best car to work on is the car on the rack, not the car in the parking lot that takes you a half an hour to get. So I believe that we must do what? We must pay. I'll say it again, pay for quality video and inspections. I pay 1/2 an hour. That is 1/2 an hour I pay for a quality inspection and a quality video. Because what happens if we have quality videos and inspections? We sell more. And what we can do is if we send that to the customer via phone, if they're prepped for it, guess what they can do? They can say yes with their thumb, and we can get a response before the car comes off the rack. This will save you 20 to 30 minutes a car based on your parking lot structure, right? So I think the focus needs to be around, are we paying the tech to do something? I believe, yes, we should. One is I can hold them accountable to make sure those inspections and those videos are high quality. Two, make sure everybody is focused on selling hours at your store. And finally, make sure that everybody understands that parts sells hours. And if you don't have parts at the desk of the technician, you won't sell hours. Having a technician walk to a parts counter is so old school. That's like hours per row to me. It's just, why are we over there? The only time you need to go over there is that we have to point to a picture that they can't scan. This is what we want to do. Focus on the hour.
Nice. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. Shon, I want to come over to you real quick. And we all talk a lot and we've done a lot of work with your group and I'll embarrass you a little bit and say you guys are killing it on efficiency, and we don't have to get into specifics, but what, you've mentioned some of the things that you do to help compensate and motivate your technicians. You mind sharing with us on some of the things you guys are doing up there?
Of course. So I think part of it goes back to when we kicked this off, or when I came here in November a year and a half ago. It started with the fact that there was no, I say accountability, and I know it's probably an overused word, but there was no accountability. Techs didn't know where they were on Wednesday. They didn't know where they were on Thursday. They didn't know where they were on Friday. Guys, that doesn't work. I know Marco's going to hate me for saying this, and he's going to say this is old school. Guys, the leaderboard works. It's worked in the sales department for how many years? We have a leaderboard in every one of my stores. If you don't want to be on the bottom, then let's talk about fixing it. Okay. Let's talk about why you can't turn 8 to 10 hours a day. And by the way, once you hit 10 hours, I'm going to change that goal and make that goal harder. I promise you, because I'm going to push you to your limit. But if you're not a fit and trim guy, for your example, then why are you working on fit and trim cars? So let's go back to who's dispatching, whether it be a dispatcher, service manager, service advisor, whoever it is. Leaderboards are a must. And by the way, your naysayers, the people that tell you they hate leaderboards, will eventually be the top of your leaderboard. It doesn't fail every single time. So the guy that walks in, well, if you put my name on the board, I'm going to quit. And listen, and Joe, you know this. I was in union stores 11 of my 29 years. Well, you can't do leaderboards. Show me a union contract that says you can't have a leaderboard. Haven't seen one yet, by the way. The only reason they don't want them, they don't want to get embarrassed. Well, listen, I'm not here to embarrass you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to show you where you're at. And by the way, that way on Wednesday morning at noon, when Billy back there only has 8 hours for the week, you know you better go find a gravy ticket for Billy because Billy's drowning and he's going to shut down on you for Thursday.
Sure.
And Friday. So our efficiency is directly related to accountability and leaderboards. And again, I've had managers who don't believe in leaderboards. Then you can't work for me. In all due respect, it's all about accountability and sharing. And by the way, you also, I'm going to back this into, everybody's got to be bought into that. Service advisors, they're on the leaderboard. Parts guys, parts counter sales, put them on the leaderboard. I'm not shy. Let's look at who's doing their job and who's not doing their job. Magically, you're going to see an increase, and you're going to see the guy on the bottom go to the top. And you got to make sure the managers know what efficiency really is. You'd be shocked, and I'm not talking about anybody in this panel because I think I'm personally friends with everybody on this panel. There are service managers that don't know how to figure out efficiency, proficiency, any of it. And to Tully's point, hours per RO, you better not talk about it. That is old school. It's all about selling the hours and selling efficiency, period.
Interesting. Yeah, look, and like you said, it is old school, and you know, I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions on that, but accountability is real, and it's tough to get full accountability for everybody any other way. So I certainly see the upside, and if it's working for you, keep doing it.
Hey, Joe, let me just mention about Shon, what he talked about. Leaderboards work. Leaderboards, everybody wants to be on the top. And what happens is that everybody, including porters, everybody wants to see their name on the TV set.
Sure.
This is the easiest thing you can do. The TVs back here cost me $99 a year, and I use Google Docs to put all the data on it. It's free. It's super simple. I have 64 television sets throughout my fixed ops departments, right? Leaderboards, people want to see how great they're doing. The red goes away.
We're not reinventing the wheel. Sales have done it in the conference room on Saturday morning sales meetings since we started selling cars. We're just a little late to the game. It's the only difference.
Yeah. Well, I think it can, like you said, help you guys out too. I mean, it gives you an idea of who's struggling, who needs some help, and you know who needs a talking to. I guess it's more about what you do with that leaderboard afterward. If you know, you're not going to sit there and belittle and berate somebody, but if you see, hey, here's someone that could use a hand, or you know, find out what's going on, see if he's got you know any questions or is lacking in any area. I think it can be helpful for you guys in leadership roles as well. All right, thank you, Shon. I appreciate it. Mike Weldon, what's up? I'm coming to you, buddy. How are you?
Just fine.
So, you know, I was going to mention it to Tully. You guys are both in California. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have a mandated hourly rate that you have to pay even for your flat rate guys, correct?
Correct. And we don't call it flat rate anymore. We call it performance-based pay plans.
Right. Okay. All right. What's your opinion, you know, and again, you've been there for a long time now and don't know it any other way. Do you see that as hurting efficiency? Do you see it as helpful for you guys to kind of provide that cushion, that security? You know, what's your opinion on that?
I've worked with piecework. You know, I've been in this industry for a long time, more than most. And I've worked through all different pay types. And I will tell you, there's less stress, but better performance on how we compensate our technicians today because of value received. I don't want somebody to come to work and hope that they're going to make an hour today. If I ask you to come to work, I'll make sure that you're going to be productive and you're going to make money.
Right.
And to everybody else's point, we have voice of the technician. We get everybody together. They have the top producing technicians within the company. We make sure that these guys see value for their efforts, and we let everybody in the company know how hard these people are working.
Nice. Yeah. And I think that's big. And that kind of goes along, you know, it's like an intangible leaderboard. If you're bringing technician achievements to the forefront and you know, putting them in the spotlight, you know, that's kind of achieving the same thing there. People want to be recognized, and you know, as long as you're recognizing them, I think it does go a long way to making sure they're putting out maximum effort.
Yeah. And when you walk around the shop, which I walk around every single shop, and I know the highlights, I make sure that they know that I know their highlights, and I thank them for the job that they're doing. And, you know, that gets them to see that, hey, I'm truly in tune to their life.
Nice. Gotcha. Good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Robert, I'm coming to you, my friend. How do you make sure? Do you guys? Do the ones that come play basketball with you? Do they get like massages and rub downs just to make sure that they're? Are you ever worried? Do you have to get like an extra life or insurance policy on them and stuff? Just in
We were
case?
all thinking it, Joe. I'm glad you said it. We were all thinking it.
I'm like, what? Like, what happens if you blow out an ACL and you lose a tech out on the basketball court? No.
Oh, it's very fearful, but I got to hang my hat up. I don't think there's anything left to talk about. I mean, there's way too much that's come out in this panel. It's going to be one to keep going back and revisiting and listening to, because I'm over here wanting to take notes, and I'm thinking about a lot of the stuff that I do and everybody else is doing here. And I think everybody touched on it real big. I think the real key there, obviously, like you said, jokingly, we play basketball together with a lot of the guys that are, and that's a mixture of sales, parts, and service. So it's not even just the fixed operation side. It's just a kind of community based through our 5 Valley stores that we have out here. And, that helps a big deal. I think, touching base on what Tully, Shon, and Mike said is real key too. We share all that information publicly across all departments. So advisors are graded and ranked, parts guys are graded and ranked, and our technicians are graded and ranked. And everybody sees where everybody falls between hours, sales, CSI. Everything gets put out there, so nothing's hidden, and there's no reason for it to be. I think it's definitely a huge focus point to show everybody where everyone is, and it helps bring the ones at the bottom that want to fight for it up to the top, and fight for the leaderboard at the end there, which only benefits everybody at the end of the day, especially when it's in a quality position. It's been real good. I mean, there is no rub downs and massages, unfortunately, after the basketball games. But the guys are, some days pretty sore, pretty weak, and whatnot. And it's a lot of fun to get back in the shop after playing, and then seeing the focus there. But it opens up to the human aspect and the human feeling of what's going on a little more than just the fact that we're at work. It's a lot of time we all spend there, and it really can be, more time with them than we do with our regular families at times. So making it sustainable has really been good. And we just really focus on across the board, trying to give everybody they can, every little piece that we can offer to help try to make everyone's day better. I preach it very regularly with them. My job is to make sure they all have the tools and the equipment, everything they need to do their job. So that way the technicians and my advisors, when they do well, naturally it helps me do well. So I can't do well unless they're doing it first. So it really starts all the way around.
Right. Well, and we joke around, but there is a benefit to physical activity, especially in a job like this that can be physically demanding. And you're ensuring that your guys are staying in shape, and you get that endorphin rush and stuff. And you guys play in the morning, right?
We do, yeah. 5:30 in the morning for about an hour and a half if and then head to work right from there. And
that gets the blood flowing. It's a good way to start your day for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right, sir. And look, I'm going to go to Jim here in a second. And I try to flip around and rotate the order here because I know by the time we get to the end here, it's tough. A lot has been said. So I try to keep it even. So with that in mind, Jim, I'm coming to you. You're our last one. Anything that you want to expand on, things that you guys do differently at your store that maybe hasn't been discussed yet to improve efficiency?
Listen, this is a very tough act. Being last in a group of this talent is what a handicap you just put on me there, Joe. But listen,
so you went second last time. I keep track of this stuff.
No. I appreciate it, but listen, compliments to everyone on this panel here, and everyone is pretty much preaching the same theme. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of things that I took away from listening to everyone. So Tom, to his spaghetti comment, so cool, very, very, you think about how many miles, if they were like a little pedometer, how many, walking around, and it's unproductive time walking around, right? There's nobody's being billed for all those hours walking to the parts counter, walking to the parking lot to find out that their next job is blocked by 2 cars. They got to come back to the keyboard, hope the keys are on there and not on somebody's toolbox or on a console of a car that's on a lift, things like that. So a couple of things that we've made a couple little pivots here is to try and minimize the downtime for the technician, right? And keep them as efficient and productive as possible. Is when the simple jobs like a simple recall or a maintenance, we have the dispatcher go to the parts department, pull the parts. So when the technician is dispatched, the RO, they hand them the parts necessary for that job. That prevents that unnecessary trip to the parts counter to possibly wait 2 or 3 deep at the counter. That's, again, unproductive, wasted time. We have a dedicated porter, a driver porter that helps pull out cars prior to the car being dispatched. So the dispatcher knows what the next job is for Marco, and he has the car pulled out ready for him, so there's not blocked in any type of compromising situations in the parking lot. Again, minimizes the downtime. Those are just a couple little tweaking things that we help build more of a better head for the technician, where they're not frustrated, because I think Marco touched, or somebody touched on it, where if you lose that technician, they're gone for the day or maybe a half a day. Productivity goes out the window. They're pissed off at the world. They don't, what's next? How much am I going to lose? This is crazy. Where the guy next to him or across the bay from him is doing an 8-hour job that it's a cakewalk. We're also putting a lot of emphasis on better write-ups, quality write-ups. I know that was touched on somebody. I know there was a lot, that was a big topic, where the better write-up, the frequency of the problem, at what speed, stopping, accelerating, those types of things, we're really honing in to get more accurate and a much more descriptive complaint and concern at time of write-up, to assist the technician to hone in on and zero in on that complaint versus chasing it, doing unnecessary road tests, or chasing the wrong concern. Also, I think Marco touched on it about administration, on what the responsibility for the write-up at the technician's level is at times overbearing, where you have to write a novel. Yes, you get paid by the word. Every warranty administration is done by labor ops, and they're only paid and claimed based on the technician's story on what he or she performed. So if a technician performed, 9 labor operations or to do this, but only wrote 3 or 4 of them, that technician is going to get shortchanged unless the warranty administrator goes out to the technician individually and say, hey, your write-up's weak, I need more information, or did you actually do this so we can properly claim and get the money we're entitled to for this repair. So those are a lot of things that we are really focusing on to keep the production and the hours up. The technicians happy because they're paid for exactly the time that they spent on the vehicle. And the dispatching with the parts, the parking lot, those types of things help tremendously. It's the little things that add up to big things at the weekend. So that's pretty much what I have here. But again, I agree, and what everyone touched on and said was very, very real world, great advice.
Right. Yeah, and Jim, you may have just completely screwed yourself over, because you did so well wrapping things up there. You might be last every week now. That was beautiful. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. That was awesome, though. Thank you. I guess it seems like our kind of 2 or 3 takeaway themes, if you were, and Jim, you just said it. When it comes to turning more hours, comes to efficiency, there are no small details. Every little small detail matters, because it adds up so quick, and that's. If you're doing an audit, whether you're a service manager or a technician, those are things you got to look at to improve. And then 2, obviously, a little friendly competition and accountability goes a long, long way on the fixed ops side. And then Marco, you mentioned, ongoing training being more than paying someone to go, improve their factory certification, and sharing information and talking about the day-to-day stuff that kind of gets glazed over. And again, those little details are big at the end of the day.
For sure.
Jim Sabino, kudos to you. The next time we need a moderator at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, I know who to call. Okay.
There you go.
So great.
You got to get
it.
I'm in the presence of greatness here. This is a coast to coast here. This is top shelf. There's no doubt about it. This is I'm honored to be a part of this panel, because there's just so much talent here. And not only do I participate, I learn and take away. So it really is. It's great to be a part of.
Joe Lockard at Automax Recruiting and Training helps develop and locate and find and attract that great talent. And he works with a lot of dealerships here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I can attest to that. Shon Kingrey, I know you know that as well. Tully Williams. Joe, Automax does some great work out there. What do you see ahead in the new year? 11 months to go for 2024, Joe. What are some of the things that you're working on there?
Well, I like having these big conversations, right? And I think we're in a place to where I've said it before. We see so much, like Jim said, coast to coast. We've recruited in all 49 states, excluding Hawaii. Still haven't learned Hawaii. Kind of bugs me, but I gather so much information that when I hear, in a service manager, a fixed ops director, a GM wants my opinion and wants, hey, why can't we get this done? Where are we coming up short? We've had 3 guys that we tried to land. I try to help out, and you guys are such a big part of that. So as Jim said, just being here, I learned so much, and I'm able to share so much of that information with our clients. And I like to think we are making a difference, both through this roundtable and then, in our efforts to not be, a company that's just grabbing from one store to give to another store, because that doesn't help anyone. That's a zero-sum game for the industry. So we're trying to do our part to get this thing turned around, make it better, both from the management leadership side and from the technician side, because everybody can win. And I feel like hopefully we're going to keep pushing that forward here on this roundtable. So I appreciate you having me be a part of this. It means a lot.
Joe, this was perhaps the best panel yet that I've seen. So, and Joe Sabino is right. This powerhouse panel from coast to coast. Joe Lockhart, if our audience wants to reach out to you with questions, thoughts on things that you can help their dealership with, what's the best way, Joe?
I'm all over social media. I'm on LinkedIn a lot, on Facebook a lot. Our website is automaxrecruitingandtraining.com. My cell phone's there at the bottom. If anyone ever wants to just reach out and pick my brain, 609-705-8646, always available.
Great. I want to thank the panel, Tom Druzynski from West Her Automotive Group, Marco Zwanenburg, technician extraordinaire at Naples Luxury Imports. Thank you for all you do. Mike Weldon, powerhouse there at Hansel Automotive Group. Mike, thank you for everything going on. Tully Williams, you got everybody believing in the hours, Tully. So congratulations to you. Jim Sabino, great addition to the panel. Welcome, and thank you for being here. Robert Migliaccio, congratulations to you at Carter Myers. Great work. You're doing fantastic stuff. Great input today as well. Shon Kingrey, honored to have you here at the roundtable. Sir Shon. And Joe Lockhart, very appreciative and grateful to you for the fantastic work Automax is doing.
Appreciate it.
Everybody, the Automax Tech Avengers panel here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
The Fixed Ops Roundtable certified program is designed to help preferred dealers and partners with powerful tools and resources.
Learn more at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Hi, Fixed Ops Roundtable. We just released Harmony AI, our new 24/7 AI scheduler. Keep watching to preview.
This is Harmony, your digital assistant. I will be happy to schedule your service appointment today. Is this John?
Yes.
Would you like to book an appointment for your 2022 Accord?
Yes.
Now, please tell me what services you would like.
Oil change, tire rotation.
Would you like to drop off your vehicle, wait at the dealership, or would you need a ride?
Drop off.
Our first availability is today at 10:30 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 12:30 p.m. Please select a time, say next, or say a date of your choice.
10:30 today.
Great. You are booked. Your confirmation is on the way. Our team looks forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.
If you're interested in learning more, Update Promise will be at NADA at booth 1263 in the West Hall. So we'll see you there.
So being a legacy automotive retailer, we've used a number of different companies over the years to help us train our people and educate our people on everything from sales process to customer service to you name it, anything relating to retail automotive. But in today's world, particularly since COVID, we really set out to try to find a partner that had a much more progressive, contemporary approach to automotive sales, automotive service, customer relations in general. And when we did that, our research led us to the folks at Quantum 5.
Anything that you can do consistently the same way gets better. So what Quantum gives us the ability to do, or has taught us how to do, is follow a very specific framework that delivers a very specific result every time. And that has been invaluable both to our veterans that have been in the business longer than me and the people that we're hiring new. Quantum came into the store as a partner. They've executed on that on every call, every interaction. And what our veteran staff finds to be the most beneficial is they get to continue to learn.
We know that Quantum is more than a vendor, they're a partner. They're actually a part of our business, a core part of our business and our daily processes. When I got into the car business many, many years ago, it was about control this, control the customer, control this. Well, now customers have as much information as dealers. So now it's more about controlling the process, understanding the customer. And that's what Quantum brings to the table. It allows you to have control of a process, understand your customer and your customer's needs, and deliver the relevant information that they need to make that informed decision, ultimately in purchasing a car, but starting with gaining that critical appointment. Quantum puts our client advisors on a pathway to prosperity. Our newer advisors see our seasoned advisors and the success they're having, and the fact that they're bought into the system and they've been on this system for years shows the new client advisors that if you buy in similarly, you're going to yield the same results, if not better. I can't speak enough to what Quantum has meant to our business and to the growth and development of our client advisors.
It's the most enchanting event in the land. Welcome back to the Knights of the Fixed Ops Roundtable event.
Take a peek into the future of automotive retail with our next segment featuring Steve Greenfield from Automotive Ventures with Sarah Vantine and Ted Ings.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings, and we have a special guest with us today, Steve Greenfield.
It's good to be here. Thank you both for having me.
I don't think there's anybody more in the know, Sarah, than Steve Greenfield as what's happening in our industry in this year. And Steve, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Well, Ted, as always, it's a pleasure being back. I don't know how many times it's been now, but I'll always appreciate the thought partnership, and it's just a pleasure being here.
Fascinating to see a lot of the things that you've gotten into and a lot of the conversations that have come as a result of that, Steve. And what a great place to be, automotive, in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of COVID here, I mean, it has been a roller coaster ride, many surprises, but yeah, there's no industry I would rather be in. There's never a dull moment.
Well, Steve, this is really exciting to be in the first few weeks of 2024. And a lot of dealers are doing reflection right now, thinking about what happened in 2023. So looking back at the automotive industry in 2023, what would you say were the biggest headline items?
Yeah, so I think a few that I would think come to mind, you know, one, maybe the biggest being sort of the EV slowdown. And, you know, as we've seen even through January here, you know, last year was a good year. About 8% of new vehicle sales were EVs, plug-in EVs. But you know that the pace of growth has slowed right at the time that a lot of these legacy automakers are bringing new models online. So I suspect you know that'll continue. But we did see that pace start to slow down. And the other thing to keep in mind is it really is a tale of two cities, right? Tesla closed the year at about 60% of all EV sales. So it's hard to generalize and say we hit 8% when Tesla's 60% of that. It's a long tail of you know the legacy automakers that are just dipping their toe into EV sales that have really started to feel the pain of this, right? And I think you know Ford last year lost something like $37,000 per new EV sold, and should end the year at about a $4.5 billion loss in their EV division. So it's hard to know when these legacy automakers that are just getting started are going to ever turn a profit on these EVs overall. So EVs was a big one. I think, a second one, Sarah, was the UAW, the victory for the UAW. I mean, that was a huge win for the UAW last year. These were the richest contracts that they'd seen since 1960. I had seen someone cite that the wage increases over the 4 years totaled more than the workers received in the past 22 years. And then, they quickly turned their sights to non-unionized factories like Toyota, like Tesla, et cetera, who reacted almost immediately by increasing their labor rates, right? So even though these were non-unionized folks, I mean, the costs have gone up across the industry for labor overall, which is going to trickle down into like higher vehicle prices overall and probably lower margins for the OEMs in general. So we'll see how the rest of that plays out over the course of 2024. But that was a big news item. I would say that 2023 was probably, from my mind, the year of Elon Musk. You couldn't pick up any media without seeing some news, good or bad, a lot of bad about Elon Musk. But Tesla made a lot of progress, convincing a lot of the legacy automakers to adopt their charging standard. SpaceX is dominating satellite launches now. We heard that they ended the year at about $175 billion valuation. They may spin off Starlink, which is powering satellite internet for a lot of the globe now. And we saw evidence of that over in the Ukrainian war, for example. His competitor to OpenAI, which he's called xAI, was raising $1 billion to compete directly with OpenAI. And then Neuralink, literally putting a computer inside the brains of humans. That's the vision to augment, intelligence. They had a valuation of about $5 billion overall. So I think those are the highlights from last year. That was a lot to unpack, but like I said, there was a lot of news last year, a lot of it around automotive, and much more exciting to come in 2024.
It is an exciting place to be, like we said earlier, Steve, and all this change is trickling its way down to the retailer and to the consumer as well. So here we are, end of January, looking out over the horizon, the next 11 months. Steve, when you look into your crystal ball, what are your predictions for the coming year in 2024? What do you see ahead for us?
Yeah, so I mean, we've already got a good head start into some of these trends, right? But I think that the EV pain, as I said, is just beginning. So demand kind of has slowed down at that exact moment that these legacy automakers are just getting their new models introduced. Automotive News says we're going to see a new 150 new EV makes and models launched over the next 2 years. So we're going to get flooded with new inventory right at that moment where we've kind of saturated all the early adopters of EVs overall. So what that's going to mean is we're going to continue to see inventories backing up on dealers' lots. We're going to see incentives coming in over the top. And the incentives on EVs, I think, are going to get very dramatic and very large. It'll be a good time for a consumer to have a lot of choice and a lot of EV adoption in terms of pricing pressure and discounting. But I think this is going to be a big political issue as we get into the election cycle. Not the least of which is the Inflation Reduction Act and all these tax incentives and whether we're spending them correctly. These restrictions on Chinese batteries, et cetera. And we've also seen with EVs, they're expensive to repair. So there's implications on fixed operations overall. I think that's going to trickle down to having a potentially higher vehicle insurance premiums for consumers on EVs versus ICE vehicles. And, in amongst all this and the volatility in pricing, it's going to be really hard to calculate residual values on what a used EV is going to be worth in 2 to 3 years. So I think you munge all that together, and I think it's going to be more storm clouds on the horizon for EVs overall in 2024.
Steve, a quick follow-up. Last time you were on, we talked a little bit about the charging network, and that has been in the news as well lately, the last 6 months or more. What do you see ahead on that?
Well, I mean, at this point, most, if not all, of the legacy automakers have said we're going to just adopt the Tesla standard, which is dangerous, frankly, for them. Tesla has already made the investment to have 20,000 fast chargers out there across the U.S. and very reliable, much more reliable than these third-party chargers for the time being. So it kind of makes sense that the automakers have adopted this, but at the same time, they're putting all their eggs in the Tesla basket. and they're going to be literally having a GM or a Ford EV owner pull up to a Tesla charger and plug in. And Tesla will be able to effectively have visibility into every time you charge your vehicle at any one of their locations. And we saw late last year that I think over the Thanksgiving break, Tesla had said that, if you're going to make that last charge from 80% to 100%, they may charge you an extra $1 at their stations. Even for Tesla drivers, you could see a world where they start to charge non-Tesla drivers to try to throttle demand and supply, and it could get very dangerous.
Interesting. Fascinating.
Steve, you mentioned the customer expectations changing, and you're talking a little bit about some of the EV pieces in the customer experience. So what do you think is going to be the biggest change for the customer expectations going into 2024?
Yeah, so I think that the what I would call it the Amazon factor, right? So we saw this announcement last year. It's a very limited test. Hyundai announced that 18 of their dealers are going to be able to offer new vehicles for sale on Amazon, and it'll be a little bit of a clunky experience as it launches here this month. But I think that what we'll see is sort of like consumers. Now their expectations are going to be raised, and whether it's television commercials or whatever, a consumer is now going to walk into a non-Hyundai dealer and say, "Hey, I saw commercials for Amazon. I can buy a car on Amazon now." And the dealer is going to have to be prepared for that. The frontline salesperson is going to have to be prepared to say, "Well, we aren't participating, but this is why you should buy from us." Because I think there's a big threat that as they start to add more dealers, consumers may very well walk into a dealership, test drive a new car, but then say, "Well, if you're not offering it over Amazon, I'm just going to go home and I'm going to configure the same car and buy it over Amazon overall." So there's always been this threat that consumers were buying other products on Amazon, and they would transfer some of those expectations into auto. Well, now I think it's going to be more direct, and I would suspect over the course of 2024, we're going to see a lot more of the Hyundai dealers jump on board. And then the latter half of the year, we're probably going to see additional makes beyond Hyundai jump on board. Now, what implications that's going to have on fixed operations, I think it's only a matter of time, too, that if you bought a car off of Amazon, where do you get the car repaired? Well, if you had driveway delivery, I don't have an existing relationship with one of those Hyundai dealers. So there's going to also have to be an experience on there to drive the consumer into a service bay to get work done. And it'll be interesting to see how that's accommodated as well. But I think at the very least, Sarah, I think that dealers are going to have to be prepared that consumers are going to start seeing these ads, and they're going to have to equip their frontline salespeople to be able to manage expectations as to why we're not selling on Amazon, or why buy from me, because maybe I can offer a better bundle of services than you could get on Amazon. But I think a lot of dealers may be flat-footed and not prepared for this change.
And Steve, while I know a lot of the logistics have yet to be worked out with that alliance, how do you see that affecting dealer margins as we look into 2024, into the year ahead?
Well, I think this is going to be one of the big news items. A year from now, when we're catching up, we're going to be shocked at how quickly dealer margins are going to come back down to earth. And I don't want to be a naysayer. We've already started to see margins start to drift down after COVID. I think this will be the year, and part of it will be fueled by these EVs. I mean, there can be brands where dealers are literally having to give away EVs and not make any margin, no front end gross at all on EVs, because there's going to be no demand for them. So I think dealers are going to be shocked at how quickly supply is going to come back, both on EVs and ICE vehicles. And suddenly it's like, I'm not making any money on the new vehicle sale. It's going to become that much important to retain those customers for fixed operations, because fixed operations is still going to be a good, profitable engine of growth for dealers overall. But I think it's going to be a bit of a shock for dealers that aren't prepared, how quickly profit margins are going to start to compress this year. I don't suspect by the end of the year they'll get back to pre-COVID margins, but we may get pretty close by the end of the year in terms of tracking into 2025 with dramatically lower margins than dealers have experienced the last couple of years.
How is all this going to play into dealer costs, and what do you foresee ahead in that?
Well, I think this is one of the big areas of hope that I have, is that dealers will start to really ruthlessly focus on their cost structures, and some of the discipline that they learned through COVID. Hopefully, that they keep some of that discipline, the cost discipline. But I think that as an investor, this is where I get most excited, is whether we can find, partners out there, vendors that will be selling into dealers to help them effectively make their people more productive, dramatically drive down turnover, because turnover is a big cost, as Sarah has articulated very, very many times in the past. And I think that helping a dealer like scrutinize their entire cost structure and say, where am I spending money today, and how can I help my employees be more efficient? How can I drive costs out? And how can I make sure that even if revenues start to get a little lower and margins elsewhere, gross margins start to come down, I can more than counterbalance that by driving costs out. And I think we are going to see a new wave of vendors out there that really help dealers manage their understand their costs, manage their costs, drive down their costs. And those are the kinds of companies that we're looking at investing in out of our two funds.
Wow. Fascinating. Sarah, when you were in Detroit, I believe it was in early October. That's when I believe the UAW strike was going, full throttle at that time. And I know I've wondered, Steve, how do you see that, looking into the year ahead, talking about dealer costs? You're going to have all these new costs now, labor costs for the OEMs that'll be entered into the equation.
Yeah, I think mostly it's going to manifest in two areas. I think that the dealer's margin that the OEMs permit them to make on new cars is just going to shrink. And they're going to say, look, our costs are higher. We're going to, the difference between invoice and MSRP is just going to shrink over time. And, the difference the dealer is able to make in terms of profit on the front end of the vehicle. And I think you could see it in OEM parts margin too, because where else can the OEMs, start to pad in some additional profitability is to say, look, our costs are going up. We're going to pass that along to the dealers. And maybe, you aren't going to make quite as much money when you're wholesaling OEM parts in the future as well. So I suspect those are immediate costs that the dealers will start to feel in 2024. And they're looking at, their P&L, and they're saying, wow, I'm not making as much money on a new car sale. And in my parts department, I'm starting to get squeezed a little bit too. I'm not making quite as much margin as I used to make in the parts department.
Sarah?
Well, Ted, this is, Steve has said so much already, and I just have another question, Steve. As you're talking about some of these pieces in the parts department and with service, there's been so many OEMs announcing all of these recalls. And so in the pre-owned market, there's a lot of stop sales that have happened lately, and there's fixes that are on the horizon. But how do you see that impacting some of what is happening in service departments and dealerships in the beginning of this year?
Yeah, so I'll differentiate between new and used. I think the EV recalls are going to be a windfall for dealers, right? It may be challenging to actually have the equipment and the parts to be able to do these EV recalls, but I think especially if I'm I won't name any automakers, but one of the legacy automakers that's just getting into EVs, those first generation of EVs we've already seen have a lot of issues, right? So I think the recalls on those could be a windfall for dealers to fill up their service bays. I think to your point, Sarah, I think that navigating around selling used vehicles and understanding when you're taking a used vehicle on trade, is there an open recall? And am I going to be able to get that actually done quickly and expeditiously and cost effectively is going to continue to be a point of pressure for dealers. And there have to be new technologies out there that help dealers identify at the point of purchase of a used vehicle, does it have a recall? How quickly can I get the recall serviced? And how can I do that cost effectively? And I think that there are some innovative startups working in that area, but I think we're going to see more of that.
I think this past year was the year that we woke up to the fact that artificial intelligence is now here in the retail automotive industry. Steve, what do you see ahead for AI?
Well, I think we're going to start to see, it'll be interesting going into NADA here in a week or so to see just how much AI is being sold by different vendors, right? I assume that almost every booth we're going to go to will have some AI, marketing, and we'll see sort of how much value it can deliver to dealers. But I think, by the end of the year, we're going to start to see just AI become normal course in product development in these vendors. And I would almost call it like invisible AI. AI is going to start to become just part of our daily life, right? Kind of like if you're writing a document now and you're using spell check or grammar check, it's just going to be woven into every single product that we've got. So I think it'll be great for dealers because I think that whether you've got somebody in the BDC who's reaching out to a consumer and just the correction and just making that, augmenting that frontline employee's intelligence, whether it's in a service bay and ensuring that the technician's smarter at diagnosing the issue quicker, or actually like making sure the parts are in stock real time, et cetera. So I think we're going to start to see like AI probably the first half of the year being separately discussed modules that will be upsold to dealers. I think by the end of the year, we're going to start to see AI just get woven into the very fabric of all the solutions out there. At the end of the day, it circles back to like talking about taking out costs, right? If all of our employees are smarter and can be more efficient because AI is augmenting their intelligence and helping short circuit the daily routine tasks that they do, I think it's going to be a better world and a more profitable world for dealers overall.
All right, Steve, a big prognostication. Here we are, end of January, looking into your crystal ball. What do you see ahead, or what do you think will be the biggest surprise in the retail auto industry in 2024?
Yeah, so I think it comes back to margins, right? I think we're going to exit this year just shocked at how quickly margins have started to come down. I wouldn't say collapse. I don't think we're going to be at pre-COVID norms, but we're going to have line of sight by the end of the year. So if a dealer isn't sort of saying, if a dealer's living in a bubble and saying, oh no, margins are going to continue to be awesome, I would say, well, maybe it's time to prick that bubble and start to like be more realistic around like what the latter half of the year might look like, and just be prepared. If the margins are still great this year, awesome. Everyone can continue to ride that wave. But if margins start to come down dramatically and you're not ready, I think shame on you. Shame on you.
Oh, fascinating, Sarah.
Steve, this has been a lot of really amazing information. And Ted, we just talked about all the changes, all the predictions, but a lot of people are looking at technology companies and they're thinking, all right, if I'm in this investment climate, there's a lot going on. So Steve, if you're looking at the investment climate for early stage automotive technology companies, what is the climate looking like today?
Well, it's a great question, and it has been very challenging, right? Even for non-automotive technology companies that are early stage, it's been hard to raise money, et cetera. And we're starting to see that loosen up now, coming through the first month of this year. I think what we'll see is that continue to get better for entrepreneurs who are out there who are looking to raise their first money or raise a subsequent round of money. Is this going to become an easier environment for folks overall? We're investing in very early stage companies out of 2 funds, and we've made 27 investments so far over the last 3 years. And we continue to see a good flow of very innovative companies. There goes the cat. And innovative companies that are looking at solving these big issues within automotive technology. And we don't see any shortage of really innovative companies, great entrepreneurs, investable companies. But I think it's just going to become a much easier environment if you're an entrepreneur out there to raise money. And that's a breath of fresh air, I think, compared to what's been the case the last couple of years.
And Steve, we have some mutual friends on the Fixed Ops Roundtable who've seen great benefit of working with you at Automotive Ventures. So congratulations to you on the success that you are having with those companies.
No, thanks very much. And if anyone is interested, we have an investment club also, and I think we've done 6 deals over the course of the last 12 months. So if you're interested in investing directly, just make sure that you reach out to me, and we can get you subscribed to that deal flow as well. And we are trying to find really good, high quality companies for our investment club members to invest in.
All right. Fascinating information. Sarah, time well spent, and I took a lot of notes. I don't know about you.
Oh yes, so many takeaways for us looking into 2024.
So Steve Greenfield, great honor to have you with us. Steve is the general partner at Automotive Ventures, also the author of the book, The Future of Automotive Retail, easy to find on social media, on LinkedIn. He's everywhere. And Steve, again, congratulations to you on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable for all you do for our industry.
No, Ted, thanks for having me. Sarah, great to catch up with you as well. And best of luck for the remainder of the year.
Great. Steve Greenfield, everybody, from Automotive Ventures, here today with us at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Connect with the noble knights of the Roundtable. Our next speaker is John Traver from Traver Connect.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It's the time that we have all been waiting for. John Traver is back with us from Traver Connect. He's the Chief Executive Officer. He is the architect of the Business Development Center, the father of the modern day BDC, modern service BDC. John, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hi, Ted. It is great to be back. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Thanks for having us.
John, Fixed Ops Roundtable number 23, our theme, Knights of the Roundtable. Can you believe it?
You're Michael Jordan Fort, right? That's awesome. Congrats. Thank you for what you've done with the fort. There's thousands of us, I think, that would agree. This is an incredible forum for many.
And thank you for all you do, John, to support it. And, we're very honored to have you. And with that, I'm going to let you take it away because I know this is one of the best, very best parts of the show.
Thank you for the opportunity again. And listen, I love your theme. This time we're doing Knights of the Roundtable. Ted, at the end of the fort, I'm already anxious to find out what our next theme is. But that being said, as we kick off 2024, let's kind of get aligned with where everybody is. We got NADA here later this week. January is almost already complete in 2024, and we're all out of the gate. So that being said, I'm assuming there were resolutions made around our health, our wealth, our faith, our friends, our family, and of course, our businesses. And so anytime a new year starts, there's this vibe of having a fresh start. And so I thought, well, maybe what we could do, Ted, this time is have some fixed ops resolutions. We got our New Year's resolutions. And so what I want to do is I want to drive home this message here today around three things and kind of saying what I want to say first and then explaining it. I want to talk about direction first. And then I want to talk a little bit about team. And then I kind of want to put a bow on it relative to the right approach. And so those will be the three that I'm going to swing for here as we all sort of gather up and say, how do we make meaningful progress in reasonable time in 2024? And so again, it's going to be three things. One is having the right direction, the compass that guides us. There's a lot of things we could be chasing, but are we headed in the right direction? The second is team. And I have a new spin on team. I want to share with you something we do in my businesses that is very effective. It's ethical. Our people love it. And I think you'll be able to benefit from it today. And then the third is the approach itself. So staying with the theme, Ted, Knights of the Roundtable, you have that knight just following his trail. We all have direction. There's a lot of things we may have on our list for 2024, but this one in particular is for your dealership. And direction is important. Years ago, Ted, about 40 years ago now, I read a book by a guy named Richard Sloma. And in the book, there was a quote that has stayed with me my whole career. And this is what he said. He said, a business can tolerate a truly enormous number of errors in detail if the direction is relevant. Isn't that good, Ted?
That's
a great It is. I think of Brian Benstock and his initiative with Pick Up and Deliver. And my favorite part of his story when he talks about Pick Up and Deliver in New York City is somebody's car ending up at the wrong place. That's an example of an error in detail. That's a problem. So why would a guy like that continue to do that? Because he knows the last thing customers really, truly want to do is come to the dealership. That's a bold statement. But at the end of the day, if we're really in our business, it's not that we don't want them here. It's a function of what does the customer want. So he says, look, we'll go get the cars. We're going to win with service by going to get the cars. He's willing to make a few mistakes to get it right. What is it? For him, it's retention and loyalty. So the direction of our organizations is so key. You think about your own business, and I want to take you outside of automotive for a second. I want to take you to the emergency room. And obviously not our favorite place to be. Going back a few years, Peter Drucker, his organization, consulted with companies around the world. And this particular organization was in the United States. It was a large chain of hospitals. In fact, they had a bunch of emergency rooms. And their job was to work in kind of this time of the year, Ted, on the mission for this hospital organization, this chain of emergency rooms. And they asked the team, they said, hey, what would you say your mission is? And Ted, in that discovery meeting, they said, well, our mission's to provide healthcare. And you could see where that would make sense. And there's a lot of us that have walked into an emergency room and, we're told to fill out the log or the form and somebody will be with us in a little bit. And that mission doesn't feel that great in that moment. I think we'd all agree. I think you guys can relate. So Drucker's team was challenged with, how do we move these guys off of that weak mission and move them on to really what is more of a real mission that they have? We had to help them identify this. And what they found, Ted, was this, that the mission was something completely different. Healthcare wasn't it. And like I say, it took them a long time. The mission was to give assurance to the afflicted. And when the group finally realized, the leadership team, that it really was about assurance, they said, look, the way we're going about this is all wrong. What we're doing isn't the way to do it, to have people fill out a form and wait and then acknowledge them. What we need to do is we need to get with them within 1 minute with a qualified person the moment they walk in. We got 60 seconds to have somebody that's qualified to get with that patient and provide assurance. Now, assurance is not a suture. It's not a medication. It's not an x-ray. Assurance is emotional. Ted, they changed their entire organization by changing and refining their mission. So why, here you got a little girl and she's scraped up and her ankle's turned, maybe a sports injury. Looks like she won a medal. I think that's great. Look, they changed everything by being willing to go back to ask the big question, what is our mission? Now, in automotive, our mission in fixed ops, we're going to say, well, we're in parts and service. We're in repairs and maintenance. I know I say this, and I know some people think that I may just be saying it, but I'm saying it from the bottom of my heart. I love this dude. Now, listen, Tully gets it. When he talks about we're in the repeat and referral business, that is our mission. So if that's our mission, what does this look like? What's interesting is when we get into service lane training, we talk about acknowledging customers. A lot of these things should be automatic if the mission, the direction is clear. So before you start implementing equipment or tchotchkes or tools, make sure your mission is on point, because your direction, Ted, is going to be your primary result, no matter how you go about it. Yeah. Now, I want to say a couple things. How do we get off track? I think Charlie Munger, Ted, he passed away late November of last year. Yeah. 99 years old. He was a month shy of 100 years old. He was born on January 1st. I don't know if people knew that, 1924. How do you get off track? I think this old Mungerism is probably a good place to consider and look. You get off track, most of our errors are caused by forgetting what we're trying to do. So that's why I say mission, Ted, is so big, right? Yeah. So I want to be transparent and just say, even here at Traver Connect, you say, okay, John, how do you eat this dog food? Well, in our business, yes, we handle calls. Yes, we provide software for stores to handle calls. So we maybe provide training or outbound, but those are all a reflection of what we're really trying to do. And that is ultimately give our stores an unfair advantage at retention and customer experience. Our newest initiative is Retention Moves, Ted, where we're actually involved in the moving of vehicles, scheduling of the appointment, outbound, finding the right vehicles, its own squad of people that move the cars, the pizza tracker that knows where it is, all the things that go around that process. Why? Because This is, first of all, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of stores that cannot execute this. It's, I could go deeper on this, but my point is, this is a reflection of our mission. We're sincerely trying and working, striving to be playing a meaningful role in helping stores have that competitive advantage, maybe even an unfair advantage in their market when it comes to retention. It's our biggest item. Now, a tip for those that are serious about this, I would say initiatives are great, but strategic actions are better. Anytime you get into mission stuff, you'll hear a lot of initiatives, but you're going to want to be able to define a strategic action or two. So I want to give you a quick example, Ted. So let's say your initiative this year is to increase customer retention. You're sitting at 33 points, 33%. You want to get to 45 by the end of the year. How do we do that? Well, one example would be implement pickup and delivery. Go get those 2, 3, 4-year-old vehicles. Sure. Identify your target audience. Know how old the vehicles are. So obviously very hard to cover the cost of picking up and delivering a vehicle back to a customer if it's in the first 12 months. You got a $60 RO or whatever it is for many of these stores, hard to absorb that. But you define this. So you want a strategic action. So that's one. I just want to give a few, right? So they knew conquest, pre-owned vehicles. Now you go, what does that have to do with fixed? Well, a lot ultimately, but you know what? You could roll this up as part of this initiative where front and back end of a dealership could be doing this. This is what I would consider more of a warm approach to the customer as opposed to ice cold. Hey, we're short on inventory. We're buying vehicles. You can do this via pickup and delivery for service your vehicle is due. Records indicate that sort of thing. Third would be driving CP and RO revenue. I've talked a little bit in recent forts around the decrease in, the degradation sort of total RO count in the U.S. We're off about 35 million ROs U.S. So what I would say is this: squeeze the lemon, right? Get more out of the appointments as they come in. Make sure you're pre-selling in those calls. MPIs. When you're doing that MPI, make sure we're using video. There's plenty of vendor partners here in the Fort roundtables that provide these kind of tools. Make sure we're executing. That would be your strategic action. So you can kind of see initiative versus action, and then that's really how you get the ball rolling. Yeah. I love back in the 90s, Ted, when you and I met early 90s down there at Gulf States, Covey had written 7 habits. And I love the old habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. I would, again, encourage each of our audience members to think in terms of starting with the end in mind. What is your mission this year? Drucker, just so you know, it wasn't just one guy saying it. Drucker said it like this. He said, hey, the purpose of a company is to create a customer. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I would add is keep them. It's cheaper to keep them, right? You bet. So there's that. So we got the first part done, Ted. That's direction. So the second part is the right team. Now this one's a little easier. So as we form our Knights of the Round Table here, Ted, well, I think you're sitting in the red chair there. Buddy.
Look at that. Wow.
Right? Yeah. So we're going to put the team together. I just want to talk a little bit about how to assess the right team. So first thing is, when I think of teams, it's football playoff time, right? Sure. We're trying to decide who's going to the Super Bowl, and there's that Vince Lombardi trophy of my Green Bay Packers. I grew up in Wisconsin, Ted. I believe.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You and Shon Kingrey, actually, yeah.
I know. Well, and Shon, that's what happens. I mean, anyways, Shon and I, we won't boast, and we're just thankful. Yeah. Anyway, so John Madden back in '84. Was encouraged to develop what they called his all-Madden team. It was John Robinson from USC that said, hey, John, you should have an all-Madden team. And, of course, Madden was a famous coach and announcer, right? His first team, I just want to point this out, his first team had Joe Montana, the great Joe Montana. Joe had won a few Super Bowls in the 80s with the Niners. The running back core was incredible. You had Eric Dickerson, who had rushed for 2,000 yards in a season. You had Sweetness himself, Walter Payton. You had John Riggins from the Hogs, the Redskins. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. He had the whole team built out. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because those that are with us today, you got your all-Madden team too. So how do you know if you got an all-Madden team? What I would tell you is this: to go to the Super Bowl this year, in any year, your team has to be all green. And although I want to imply that it's green as in Green Bay Packers, I won't do that to you. I mean literally green as in green in a stoplight. Let me show you. You start with your list, your staff, your roster, your team. And you do this 1 to 10. It's very simple. 1 to 10, 1 lowest, 10 highest. You do this as a quick drill. This is gut level. This is not scientific. You do this once a quarter. And then from there, you take action. And what you'll find is as you begin to build your team out, Ted, you may have some yellows. You may have some reds. Maybe not everybody's green. Maybe you have some greens, but they could go farther. Let me show you what we mean. We do this here. An all green team looks like this. 1 to 5, this person's assignment. Whenever we find ourselves 1 to 5 as we work our way around the room, we realize 1 of 3 things have to happen. One is that role needs to be refined. That may be too much for that person. That person may need to be reassigned. They're not fit really for that role. Or that person, we don't have anything. And this just is, I don't think they want to be here, released. And there is ethics and integrity involved in that. If you care, you're going to be fair and you're going to be honest with people because we all have a limited amount of time on this earth. Let them and help them find what is for them. But to me, 1 to 5 requires one of those 3. And we do that here. 2 is 6 to 7. This is, Ted, this is where you have somebody who's yellow. 6 to 7 is typically yellow. And what it means is you're hopeful. Like you see the potential, but you're not really sure. You're going to need an all green team to get to the Super Bowl this year. So that's 30, 60, 90 per day performance improvement plan. You have measurable priorities. Ted, here's really what we set out to do. This is where we're at. Do you see that? Yeah, I see that, John. Ted, what are we missing? What do we need to help you with? Let me show you a couple stair steps. Here's how we get, that's what that looks like. It's engagement, right? And then green is good. That's good. But the one thing I would say is if they're an 8, you want to maximize that. You want to figure out how do I move that to a 10? What can we do to take them even farther? So the big question is real simple. What would it be like, Ted, this year to work with an all green team, right? So that's the team part. So you got the right direction, the right team. So now let's real quick do the right approach. And what I would say here is this. If you look at the blanket, you see 1s and 0s. Ted, that's known as binary code. Most of programming is written with binary code. It's a series of 1s and 0s. And we're all drowning in complexity, right? And so the intuitive response to this is simplicity. What the team really desires is simplicity. Now, that doesn't mean stripping away things that are maybe complex but make my job easier, but it's basically a few specific focused priorities, right? It's that critical goal. That's really what you're looking for. This guy, pretty bright guy from what they tell us, right? Yes. Albert Einstein, he said it like this. He said, everything should be made as simple as possible and not simpler. That's simple. That's simple. So to me, I think that is one of the desires of team. I think there's a process for this, Ted. Essentially, the process is going to revolve around the experience. There's input kind of at 12 o'clock. You're going to get feedback. There's going to be some change as a result of the feedback. You're going to learn from that. The way Drucker said it was this, Ted. There were 5 essential questions he had for every business. You ready? Number 1 was, what is our mission? We covered that today. Number 2 is, who is our customer? Number 3 is, what is our customer value? And Ted, here's the thing. It's cool that you and I know what they value, but at some point we need to ask them, right? Number 4 is, how are we doing? So if they value that, how are we doing, right? And then number 5 is, what is our plan? Which means it implies that how we're doing is going to require something. And what's cool about what is our plan is it takes us back to our mission. Those 5 questions will guide you. I love it, Ted. And I would say our dealers could look in both CX, the customer experience, and EX, employee experience. Right direction, the right team, and of course, the right approach, Ted. Those are the ones that stand out to me. And I would just say this, Charlie Munger, you know, he had a lot of Mungerisms, but one of those that I loved was how to live an easy life, a long, easy life, or a happy life, I think is how he said it. Okay. He said, don't have a lot of envy. He said, don't have a lot of resentment. He said, don't overspend your income. Right. He said, stay cheerful, I think, in spite of your circumstances. You remember Charlie's wife died early in their marriage. His son got cancer and died early in his life. He called it soldiering through. He said, it's okay to cry in the streets, but you learn how to soldier through. So stay cheerful in spite of your circumstances. Deal with reliable people, I think, was number 5. And then do what you're supposed to do. The thing about that list to me, Ted, it's all easy stuff.
Yeah.
24, the right mission, the right team, the right approach. Looking forward to it.
John Traver, love it. And that night of the roundtable, on the shield, you got the 3 statements right there. John Traver, everybody, from Traver Connect, best in the business. And John, so honored to have you here with us today. Wow.
You're a dear friend to many of us. Thank you for leading well. Looking forward to an incredible year. Let's stick together. Let's get after it. Let's have a heck of a year.
Everybody, the phones have never been more important than they are today in our industry. Probably the number 1 topic of conversation at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. John Traver is the CEO of Traver Connect. He specializes in the phones. He's done it for a long time, and he knows all the ins and outs and the complexities. And what they do at Traver Connect is very effective for our dealers at the Roundtable. I can attest to that. So, John, thank you for all you do for the industry. Everybody, if you want to reach out to Traver Connect, you see the URL up on the screen, and they're very active on social media, as is John as well. John, thank you so much for everything.
My pleasure, Ted.
John Traver, everybody, with Traver Connect here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hi, John Traver here at Traver Connect. Thanks for joining us on our Service BDC video today. If you've already partnered with us, we appreciate your partnership over these past years. If you're new to us, we look forward to getting to hear your story and come alongside you relative to Service BDCs. When you hear the term Service BDC, the first word for me that comes to mind is calls. That's what really a Service BDC is going to be built around, both inbound and outbound calls. Those calls are going to load your shop, it's going to drive your RO count, and ultimately, it's going to tee up your next retail unit. One reason the Service BDC is so successful today, so important today, is it has a massive amount of opportunity in the form of those incoming calls. The cell phone changed everything. It's increased the amount of calls to dealerships, and as a result, we have to have a team of people centralized to take those calls. It's always been busy in service, but today, when you ask dealers, they tell you they need help.
With only 3 service riders, it's virtually impossible for my service riders to load the shop effectively and efficiently in order to keep my shop full.
The second thing I'd be thinking about if I were you is, what do my calls sound like? What is our statement of work in those calls? Are we asking for email, address, phone number? Do we use a time and mileage approach to make sure we're pre-selling to any additional needs, or are we just order taking and then trying to take care of the customer when they get there and tell them we need their car all day? So what you want to do is establish a clear roadmap for how your calls are going to be handled. We'll help you do that, whether it's virtually here through our BDC or we do it with your team at your dealership. So perhaps you're like some dealers, when they hear us talk about centralizing the calls here in Dallas, Texas, they wonder what that call might sound like.
One thing I like about Traver is that my customers feel as though they're dealing with someone within my own store. I've had several customers come to my store and ask to speak to Chelsea when my people that realize Chelsea doesn't work there, she actually works in the call center in Dallas.
I have you
Thank
scheduled
you.
for the recall. Was there anything else?
Let me tell you, you're like the most professional person I've ever spoken to, I think.
My
Good
pleasure.
job.
Thank you.
No, I'm serious. I'm being completely serious. No, we don't need anything else. That was great.
You have a wonderful day.
Okay, you're doing a great job. You sound good on the phone. So
Oh,
when I see Herb, I'll tell him he's a great person on the phone.
We're built for service BDCs, 60,000 square feet of workstations and personnel trained to take inbound calls. There's a handful of ways we can help you. We can help you with a virtual service BDC where we take your calls. We can help you with outbound campaigns, filling in those open spots in your schedule, turnkey, not just getting the customer to call, but actually taking the call and loading it in your scheduler. 3, training for your business development manager, for your business development rep. How do they take these calls? We'll bring them into our customer experience center if they're a BDM, or we'll provide online training for those BDRs. leadership education for you. You're wondering, what are my KPIs? What should my staffing plan be? We can walk you through this in less than a day. And then tools, everything from texting, mobile payments, even in-dealership software to help your BDRs. So hopefully you see we're built for service BDCs. This is what we do, not what we talk about, and we hope to be talking to you soon.
It is a Reynolds Reynolds renaissance. Join Ed Roberts and Ted Ings as we speak to the president of Reynolds Reynolds, Chris Walsh.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Joining me now on the roundtable is Chris Walsh, the president of Reynolds Reynolds, and we are also being joined by Ed Roberts, the COO of Bozard Ford Lincoln. Chris, you've been with us here before. Thank you for coming back and giving us a little of your time today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Ted, and great to see you as well, Ed. I think we were on together the last time I did this, so it's great to be on again. You know, Ted, I will tell you, I follow a lot of your content on LinkedIn. And I want to commend you. I think you're doing a really good job of raising topics for discussion, across the industry that I think really help, everybody get better. And certainly it helps retailers get better, but I think it also helps, technology providers get better as well. So I think what you're doing is really important, and it's great to be a part of it.
And Chris, thank you for your support. Reynolds Reynolds is also a certified partner with the Fixed Ops Roundtable, so we're very grateful to you and your team. Ed, thank you for joining us as well. And Bozard Ford is a Reynolds Reynolds customer, Bozard Ford Lincoln, and has been for 3 decades now.
Yes, thank you, Ted. Thanks for having me on. And yes, we have been partners with Reynolds Reynolds for well over 3 decades. And it's not just about having a resource. It's about having someone that can help us overcome some of those pain points. And like Chris talked about a minute ago, this content that you're putting out there, it allows them to see some of the pain points that we have and then bring solutions to us. And that's one thing that Reynolds is always working on, is bringing us a new solution to help us with some of the pain points that they hear about through some of these things.
Well, if it's okay, gentlemen, I'd like to ask Chris about some of those solutions today. I know here we are at the end of January. NADA is right around the corner at the end of the week. A great time to learn about new products and hear new ideas. Chris, you were quoted recently, a couple weeks back, and let me quote you. It says, as a company, we are laser focused on our customers' success. And as part of that, we are releasing more new products this year than any year in recent memory. So Chris, Reynolds clearly has a lot of momentum. What is Reynolds Reynolds excited about?
Well, I mean, the first thing we're excited about is, being more focused on our customers has translated into, certain results for us that, we're real happy about. And it tells us that we're doing, the right things the right way. So from like many businesses, we're interested in retaining, our current customers, and we're retaining our customers at about a 96% rate, which we haven't seen that kind of retention in the last 15 years. We're acquiring customers, which is the other part, of a core business strategy. And our customer acquisition results have been up 30% this year. So more customers are trusting us to help them overcome the issues and the struggles, that they face. And we take that responsibility very seriously. And our employees take that responsibility very seriously. And we want to make sure that we, deliver for our customers. So, from a focusing on our customers' perspective, we'll continue to do that and look for different things that we can do based on what our customers tell us. And I travel around the country, almost weekly, talking to customers, and it really helps me to understand what we're doing well and where we can get better. And then we take those things back and we talk about them, as a leadership team, and we talk about how we can implement those things. So, being laser focused on our customers is a real core strategy for us, because I talk about this a lot with customers, that I believe that when you think about why you exist as a company, I believe that the reason we exist is to help our customers be successful. I really think that it's that simple. Now, how you go about executing on that can get complicated because it's a complicated business, but I think that is what we do. But as we go into NADA 2024, I'm excited about it. I don't know how many NADAs I've been to, somewhere around 25 to 28. And I get excited every year to do it. I do enjoy, the convention. I do like a lot, the kind of face-to-face interaction with customers and prospective customers. I don't get to do it as much as I'd like to. So I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy listening to what they have to say about the challenges that they face, and then, kind of directing them to things that we're doing that hopefully will help them solve those challenges. But we've got, we'll show more new products and new partnerships this year than we, ever have before, at least in recent memory for me.
I want to ask you about those in just a moment. Ed, as a Reynolds customer at Bozard Ford Lincoln, this has got to be really good news to hear.
Absolutely, because we want one solution to handle things. I don't need 12 different vendors to come up with different products to help us through obstacles. So yes, it helps when that breadth continues to grow and we can go to one solution or one partnership and say, hey, here's our deal. What do you have for us? And when they have the products to bring to us, it streamlines, and then it makes us more valuable to them as their customer, because obviously they want to be able to react and be that one-stop shop for us, so they don't have to compete with somebody else.
Ed, you must have a lot of people knocking on your door, and you've probably got a choice of a lot of different partners. And this is a long-term relationship your organization has with Reynolds, and it's got to be refreshing to hear all the good news and good things that Reynolds has coming.
Well, it's a commitment, and we appreciate that commitment. And over the last couple of years, Reynolds has done a great job of trying to reconnect with us and strengthen that partnership. And the more we do that, we all win. And Chris talked about just a minute ago why they exist. Well, they are a necessity for us, but we all have to know what that identity is of why we exist, to be able to amplify and be able to be the best versions of ourselves.
So, Chris, with all the momentum that Reynolds has, can you tell us a little bit about these new products?
Sure. I mean, the one that we're probably, I guess, if you had to pick a most excited product is Autovision. And really what Autovision does is provide data that is really, unlike anything else that's available in the market today when it comes to the acquisition, the pricing, and the reconditioning, as well as the merchandising of used vehicles, because you look at the inventory, world that we find ourselves in, and it's, it's still choppy waters, and it's still moving, it kind of ebbs and flows, and there's other things that impact it, but we think that there's real opportunities for us to help, dealers do that. So that entire workflow from, how do you buy the right vehicle? How do you price it the right way? How do you do the right reconditioning work to it so you can get it on the lot as quickly as possible, but as efficiently as possible with the right price on it, so that it's going to sell. So that whole workflow is really important to us. And the way we, I think, connected the used vehicle acquisition with the reconditioning part of the process, we think that that's going to be a real differentiator for us. And I think it's something that is going to help retailers, not just service departments, but the entire dealership be more efficient in that area. So that's a big one for us. Menu Touch is another one. It gives our customers yet another option for selling aftermarket products. In the business office, we're releasing some functionality that allows you to better manage your cash flow in your expenses. Cash is king right now, and the more we can do to streamline those things, to whether it's things in contracts or e-contracting, or just managing accounts receivables and accounts payables a little bit better to get your money quicker and pay your vendors the right way and make sure there's no mistakes that are being made. That workflow's important to us. And in the service department, we're excited about a product called Service Flex that we think is going to really help technicians be more productive. And we're also excited about a partnership that we have with a company that I know you're very well familiar with called True Video. We're real excited about that as well.
Autovision is going to be here with us on the roundtable. So Ed and I have been anticipating that and looking forward to hearing more about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about Service Flex and what that's all about?
Yeah, so Service Flex basically takes the multi-point inspection and puts it into the palm of a technician. So by that I mean putting it on their phone. So the way it always worked in the past is they would do some sort of walk around, right? And they would, whatever that walk around looked like, for different dealerships. And then they would have to go back, maybe to a PC or a tablet, and they'd have to put that information in again. But we wanted to eliminate, that step in doing that. And, we think it's a great step. And number one, offering mobility, technicians in the service department, because we think that's, so important. I mean, I know Ed's way more of an expert at this than I am, but the more we can keep those technicians, in their service bays, turning wrenches, the more customers you can get through your service department, every day. And I know Ed, as an example, is really kind of a pioneer in remote service. And, more and more dealers are looking to see what they can do from a remote service perspective. And we think it can help with that workflow as well. So we're really excited about this new, mobility functionality for technicians.
Ed, I've heard it's all about the hours. How useful are service departments going to find some of these new tools?
Well, anything that helps us increase the efficiency of our techs is huge, because it helps us with driving more customers through, but it helps those guys become more loyal to us because they make more money. The more efficient they are, the more hours they can produce, and the more money they can make, and the more loyal they become to us. So the more engaged they become. All those elements ties together. And then when you got True Video, you got the elements to where we talk about pictures is worth 1,000 words. Well, video is showing them it's their vehicle, it's their product. It's these are the things that just come off of their vehicle or things that need to be addressed on. It ties all those elements together, and it takes the legwork. If it's a waiting customer, they're not walking back and forth to see it. We have it right in the palm of our hands to show that. So all those things tie together. And then when you put it on mobile, that's what everybody's used to using anyway. They already have it in their hand. They're already, whether we like it or not, they're already going through Facebook or whatever, their TikTok or whatever they're playing with at that moment. And it's about opening that app and keeping. That's the tool that they're using. We can give them iPads, we can give them whatever, but their phone's what they live by. We all live by them now. And when you can do it all through there, it ties back to the word that we just talked about, efficiency. And when they're efficient, it is all about the hours, as Tully says.
Ed, Chris mentioned remote services, and I know that's your sweet spot. You're in that's right directly in that swim lane. You're leading us in that way. How are some of these tools going to impact what you say in terms of meeting a customer on their terms, making it convenient, making it frictionless, and making it easy to do business with the dealer?
Well, like he said, they can do it from their phone. And when our guys are out in the field, they don't have a computer to come back to. They don't have those elements. So we need them to be able to do as much as possible by their phone. And our customers has told us for decades that they don't like to come to our store. I think I have the coolest store on the planet. It's a cool destination, but people still don't want to come here. So if I can go to them and meet them on their terms, and that changes the game. And when we can do it all from here, when my technicians can do it all from here, that keeps them being more efficient. Because I lose some of that efficiency with sending them out for remote service because there is some windshield time there. I need to narrow down that area that they cover so I can minimize the windshield time. But it opens the opportunity, or really maximizes the opportunity to create as much efficiency as I can, because I have to replace time with some of that windshield time that is spent getting there. And thus we have to be efficient when we reach our destinations.
And Ed, just one follow-up. End of January, give us an update. How many technicians at Bozard? How many mobile units? And I know you have a few on the way.
I'm 103 today on property.
Technicians?
Technicians.
Wow.
I have 10 mobile units running, most of them with 2 people, and so a few of them with one that we're doing different things with. But I'm in process of putting 36 more on the road, and some will be going on the road in the next couple of days. And but in February, March, April, we'll dump about 10 a month out there, and really narrow down that window so that they're circling, they're handling an area rather than around my store, and meet customers on their terms. Another element of that is it's going to make our shop more efficient because we're going to plan those repairs better. And when we can do that, everybody wins, and then we create an unsurpassed level of loyalty from our customers.
Wow, Chris, those numbers are pretty amazing.
Really amazing.
Chris, you mentioned True Video. It's really come to fruition, especially I think in the last year and a half, the importance of these technician videos and the impact they have in getting a quick approval from the customer. I think I've seen some numbers that 6 minutes or less when you text a customer a video and show and tell, and it's coming right from the technician. And we've had a number of panels talking about the importance of videos, for instance, True Video. Tell us a little bit more about why that's beneficial from the Reynolds perspective. And, you know, obviously it's not only a reality, it's becoming a necessity now for dealers.
Yeah, well, I think you're 100% right. I think it's really about transparency and building trust with the consumer. So, you know, if you think about taking your car in for service, so for many of us, you know, we're in this industry, and so we're very familiar, you know, with the process and how it works and the workflow and everything. But, you know, an average consumer doesn't understand, you know, how a service department works. So, you know, my wife is an example. You know, she had her car in for service a couple of weeks ago, and she commented that you know, she got this video about, you know, her when her car was in the bay from the technician. He was talking about, and I don't remember what her car was in for, but he was going through and talking about some different things. So he upsold her. Well, I guess he didn't actually do it, but he's the one that initiated it. Upsold her on some things. She needed, it was either 1 or 2 tires that she may not have needed right at that moment, but she was going to need, you know, very soon. And when she could actually see what he was talking about, and he showed contrast between the tire that needed to be replaced, and he showed a normal, you know, a regular one of other tires that the tread was fine on. You know, you can see that contrast. I think it builds a lot of trust. It's not just someone telling them that something needs to be done; they're actually seeing it. And you know, when I think about, for an average consumer like my wife, that when they bring their car in for service, there is a level of stress associated with that, right? You got to figure out, okay, how am I going to go about my day? How am I going to get my kids to school? How am I going to pick them up from school? How am I going to get them to their activities? How am I going to get to work and home from work? So you're trying to figure, you know, all those things out, and what is it going to cost, you know, to do all this? And I think when you kind of plug those holes for the consumer a little bit, you know, I think it makes them feel a lot better about, you know, what they're doing. And at the end of the day, selling service work, and Ed's the expert here, but to me, it's a little bit like selling aftermarket products and F&I. It's really about educating the consumer on, you know, what you have to offer and, you know, how it can help them. And when you do it that way, it's not so much selling as it is just informing them of something that can help them, you know, in the life cycle of their vehicle. And we know that the more you can keep customers in that service life cycle, and Ed talked about remote service, you know, a few minutes ago, the more you can keep those customers, and I view it as kind of like that, you know, infinity loop, right? The more you keep them and the more they have an opportunity to interact with, in this case, you know, Bozard, you know, the better chance you have of selling them a new vehicle, or the better chance you have of selling them, you know, one of their children's, you know, one other child that's of age to buy a car, you know, buy their car. So I think video, you know, really solves a lot of these problems for us. I think it's the, you know, the expected way consumers want to interact, and you know, we think it's really important. And True Video's been doing it for a while, and it was a logical partnership for us.
Ed, do you want to comment on some of the things Chris mentioned, like trust, transparency? And Ed, even if the vehicle doesn't need anything and it's in good condition, which happens very often, the importance of a consistent video message from the technician to keep the customer up to date.
Well, let's talk about it from a standpoint of going to the doctor. We go to the doctor and the nurse checks us in and we do all these things and we tell them what's going on. They say, well, it could be this. Well, you kind of hold that in your mind, but you don't necessarily tie that to it until the doctor comes in and you get to talk to the doctor. He says, hey, here's what's going on. Well, our technicians are the doctor of our automobiles, and our customers don't necessarily get to be connected with them. They don't get that moment. And that's what video connects. It still allows that nurse, that advisor, to be able to connect the customer to the doctor. And then now when the doctor says it needs it, I'm all in, rather than somebody just trying to sell me something. So the video connects those things together, and it there's no question to where it come from or whatever else. Like Chris said with the tires, they was getting close. And when you show somebody that you're getting close, it doesn't have to be to where it has to be done today, but it's an inconvenience to be there. Why come back if I still got 3 months left on them? Why come back in 3 months if I can just handle it now? Put the choices in their hands. You don't have to make the decision for them. Give them the option.
Great analogy.
Chris, probably the most exciting time ever to be in our industry with all the things happening. Anything else, Chris, that you'd like to mention? And you've got a lot of great things happening at Reynolds.
No, I think, just we're as I mentioned in the beginning, really excited about, NAD and getting out there and getting on the floor. I'll be complaining about it, Saturday afternoon after being on my feet for 2.5 days. But, I get really excited about going every year. I'm just as excited this year. We're equally excited about 2024, and we're going to continue to do the things that, we talked about doing and putting our customers first and being focused on that. Like a great example of that is our Reynolds Performance Managers initiative that we have, which is really just boots on the street that we're putting out there to help our customers utilize our products and services, better than they have before, and to show them new things that they can do, with our products so that they can, expand the way that they do their business and improve workflows and just be more operationally efficient. So we're going to continue to grow our entire support organization. As we grow, we feel we need to grow from a support perspective because we want to be able to provide the same world-class level of support that we're kind of known for. We don't want that to go backwards at all. So we're investing there. And we think both of those investments are really investments in our customers, because as I mentioned before, if our customers are successful, then we are successful. And I think if we keep that in our mind, every day when we interact with a customer, I think we'll move, in the right direction.
Gentlemen, it sounds like Reynolds is in position for another banner year. For dealers watching who'd like to know more about Reynolds' plans for 2024 and what they have in store beyond that, you can visit their booth at NADA. And of course, you can catch Chris Walsh there and at the Automotive News Forum on Thursday, end of this week, February 1st at 11:20 a.m. Pacific time. Chris, I believe that's right. And
that sounds right.
And of course, you can check them out at rayray.com. And exciting times. And Chris and Ed, thank you so much for spending time with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Well, thank you, Ted. Thank you, Ed. And Ed, if you get the chance, stop by our booth. I'd love to say hi.
I'll certainly be there.
Everybody, Chris Walsh from Reynolds and Reynolds and Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
As consumer buying habits evolve, it's only natural for your dealership to grow too. The key is providing a seamless, engaging experience for your customers while also ensuring long-term dealership success. Introducing Retail Anywhere, a dealership-wide process that enables you to meet your customers' needs without sacrificing what's really important to you: profitability, accuracy, and efficiency. Here's what this looks like in the service department. A customer visits your website to schedule a service appointment. She's able to view current vehicle information, past vehicle repairs, needed maintenance, and previously declined work. With the click of a button, she selects repairs needed and schedules a service appointment. She arrives for her appointment, bypasses the line at the counter, and easily checks in by scanning her mobile QR code at a self-service kiosk. She also selects 2 add-ons offered to her and drops off her keys. As the technician performs the multi-point inspection, he tracks recommended work electronically. He links images and videos of repairs to the digital RO and lets the advisor know the inspection is complete. Pricing and parts availability are automatically tied to the digital RO, so the advisor simply sends a link to the customer to review and approve the work. When the customer receives the link, she is able to see all recommended repairs, including pictures and videos of her vehicle. She accepts one of the jobs, but declines the other. At the dealership, the advisor, technician, and parts department receive the customer's updates, and the approved work is started right away. Declined work is flagged for future opportunities. Once the work is completed, the customer receives another text alert with a link to view her invoice. She pays securely online and heads to the dealership to pick up her vehicle. It's after the service department is closed, so she checks out using a kiosk and receives her keys. Retail Anywhere is built on a single system, single process approach. It allows customers to schedule, review, and approve work on their terms, whether in-store, online, or both, while still allowing your dealership to retain profitability, accuracy, and efficiency. Retail Anywhere, without sacrificing anything.
Our revolutionary pop-up events have sparked a new wave of growth and innovation.
Become part of the brand that is shaping retail fixed operations at FixedOpsRoundtableCertified.com.